feels like calm, and wind stands still. Run home, run home. As the crows make night of the fading sun, hide now, hide now. The trees do bow as if they weep. Stay down, stay down. Though its light beckons forth, a melody calls out. Too late, too late.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the NLC Second Division for yet another evening of fantastic content. I am Brackish Brit. I'm joined by EK tonight to bring you the first two games of the day, which is going to be Unique versus Garden Gaming, and then a little bit down the line, in an hour's time, Chaos versus Rich Gang. EK, it's been too long, brother.
Yes, I can't remember the last time I was even on an NLC cast, so it's great to be back, and it's great to be casting with you again. I feel like we haven't cast together in...
I know.
I mean, I don't want to say it's been over a year, and it's not been over a year, but it's been many months.
Yes, far too long, and it's good that we get to remedy that today. But let's start from the very top before we even start talking about the games today, and that's we're on 14.3 now. That means Spyro from Wish, sorry Smolder, is available, but Nico is not available due to a bug. She is disabled at the moment.
Yes, and I myself, I kind of waited the first week. I didn't play too much Smolder, but then after that, I gave it a try, and I realized I absolutely love playing Smolder. So I played like 10 games in a row, and while I'm by no means an expert, at least I do have a lot of insights now as to how Smolder works, and I'm really hoping we get a Smolder pick today because I can't wait to talk about it. I'm absolutely loving the whole system with the stacks and stuff, and it's such a cool scaling champion. And apparently we are straight into draft, so great, we don't have to ramble on for too much longer.
That we do not. Unique versus Garden Gaming, then. Unique's a team that I really want to hone in a bit more because did not have a great start to the split. But we need to remember that their 3 wins, currently 3 and 4, all 3 of their wins came in their last 4 games, and they only lost to Blue White, who is currently 2nd place. So the redemption arc for Unique might very much be in effect here.
Yeah, they look like they're on a very good trajectory to actually climb up out of the hole they kind of dug themselves in the first weeks. And they are now facing a team who is unfortunately Garden Gaming, who is unfortunately on a 3 losing spree at the moment. And you're facing another team who has the same score as you. You both 3 wins, 4 losses right now, and you want to make sure that you can be the one to climb out of that same score, and you can start getting ahead and start getting into the upper echelons of the standings. And looking at the bans here, we see a lot of the picks. Funnily enough, here we see Ezreal, Karma, Azir, 3 champions that were actually nerfed on 14.3, now making themselves known on the ban list.
They're still, I mean, they got nerfed, but it's not like they got nerfed out of existence. They're still very strong in their own right. Maokai, Senna, Varus, this is all very standard, I think, in the terms of bans. 14.3 doesn't seem to have changed things up all that much as yet. We'll see how teams adapt, obviously, as we go through this patch cycle. And Unique, starting off with a very not unique first pick, Cassante.
Yeah, Cassante is just one of those champions that, I don't know if you share a similar feeling as I do, but, I feel like we've seen a bit too much Cassante maybe in the past year. I'd like him to be maybe hammered out a little bit more because he just kind of does everything quite well. And, he doesn't really have that strong counter picks. I'm kind of looking at the likes of the Gwen or the Gnar now, put aside the GG to try and get some lane pressure into him. You can try and match him with a tank or something, but you just get outscaled, get 1v1'd, and even often lose out on utility, where Cassante just offers so much.
There's a bit of a blank box there for Garden Gaming. We'll wait for production to let us know what that is. It might be Smolder. I don't know. Perhaps a lack of the asset there. It is matched up with a Nautilus, so that would be a pretty solid bot lane duo. Smolder, obviously in the very early levels, can quite struggle if you're trying to really farm for stacks. But what I've found with Smolder, I don't know if you've had similar experience, is giving up some very early stacks in the very early lane, because Smolder, not really a champion right off the bat. Just playing safe, playing respectful, getting the stacks that you can very early. Then, once you're getting to your item spikes, then you start to really come online. And of course, once you hit the splashing flames, that's when
beautiful.
Like, you're fine. You will get to the 3rd in no time.
Yeah, for sure. Especially since the stacks keep climbing up. But we'll talk more about Smolder when Smolder actually is picked. We do now have a pretty deadly mid jungle combo, and we just got confirmation from
Confirmed.
Yeah. So that means that Smolder was picked on Red 1. So, I get to talk much more about it, and I'm excited about that. But, talking about the other 2 champions that we just locked in, we have Nocturne and Ahri. Now, Ahri is one of those champions that quite often I feel like doesn't really hit the mark, because you need to kind of be able to one rotation someone or be able to set up roams in order to make the champion really work, because you kind of get out-damaged by a lot of other mage mid laners. But if you pair it with something like the Nocturne, you can just Nox ult someone, Ahri dash in there, make sure you isolate one target, blow up that target, get a reset, have Cassante come in as well, and you can just really look for this pick style. So now I'm looking for Unique to pick some sort of CC from the bot lane to be able to set up those champions effectively. And we have Brand coming in, most likely as the jungle pick for GG.
Did get nerfed quite a bit, but again, these teams definitely think it's still very much playable. And one thing I do have to worry about potentially for Garden Gaming is that if Nocturne wanted to go Duskbringer level 1, Shroud of Darkness, the spell shield on 2, what's Brand going to do about him on his early clear? The answer is absolutely nothing. There might be the potential for Garden Gaming to have to really put some defenses towards this Brand in the early lane.
Yeah, for sure. And I do like now how GG is removing those CC options from the bot lane. Well, at least, the Ashe, allowing you to set up a Nocturne ult more effectively. Olaf also being removed. Now, Olaf is one of those champions that can be picked into Cassante and can win the matchup quite handily, especially if you are Adam. But it's one of those champions that isn't played by too many people, so I don't know exactly about GG's top laner and if they play it. But yeah, there we can finally see the Smolder on our screen.
He's done little bits of Olaf here and there. It's not completely out the realm of possibility. Meanwhile, Synapse in the top lane for Unique has played a hell of a lot of the Cassante in his time. Then we've got the Trundle. We have to assume that's going top, right? You don't put Brand into a solo lane.
I mean, no. I mean, you can put him mid lane, but putting him mid lane
Should you?
into Ari Nocturne, that just looks like, you're gonna get
That
dashed
sounds
on,
like-
charmed into a
That sounds
kill.
to me like, yeah, charm hit confirms a fear and you die.
Exactly. So I don't see that happening. So yeah, Trundle must be going into the top lane right now. So I do think it's a good matchup, by the way.
Potentially.
Yeah, I think it is a good way. And I've actually said to friends while watching other casts that Trundle, I feel like, is underrated right now. So I'm actually kind of quite happy to see him pop up in a meta where a lot of top laners will lose 1v1s to him. And the thing with Trundle is if he's a top laner, you can't really leave him alone. He's kind of like a Yorick where, yeah, Cassandra can decide to go join a team fight, but by the time the team fight is over, Trundle is at your inhibitor. And you really have to manage your waves well in order to deal with that. I quite like this draft right now from...
Thank you, Cow.
Thanks, that was great. So I quite like this draft from GG because they have a split push pressure in the Trundle. You have a hyperscaling bot laner in the Smolder with a CC champion there as well. And there's a lot of room now for Talia to help out the jungler, try and move together to top lane, try and move together to bot lane. There's a lot of room for Talia to move. And I love Talia in a composition where she can kind of bridge that gap from champions that need to get some assistance in the early game to become monsters. And Talia can kind of facilitate that setup.
Definitely. And I'm quite interested to see the rise. We've got Leona coming back more and more in recent patches. She kind of died off for a while, but now she has been historically a good response into the Nautilus. Like, if Nautilus hooks in, then she is just going to out-tank him pretty strictly. And it's this weird sort of standoff state where whoever goes in is usually the one that loses in that support matchup.
Yeah, and you can just very easily, the moment, even if Nautilus lands a hook on your AD carry, fine, you just E in on their AD carry, and then both AD carries are getting, smacked to death by supports, can't do anything about it, it's just happening to them because they're super tanky in the early game.
In that situation, I think I would say Kai'Sa's got a better shot of it than Smolder in early levels.
I agree, yes, for sure, but yeah, Smolder and Kai'Sa have both champions that do not do too much in the very early levels. Now, Kai'Sa definitely spikes a little bit harder at the 5 to 15 minute mark. But Smolder, as we talked about, is a champion that has incredible late game scaling, and if you are peeled well, you can deal so much damage. So I guess we can break down Smolder a little bit for people who may not be fully aware as to how Smolder works. So there are a couple.
Actually, tangentially to that, I was gonna go with how does he build, but if you want to do like a quick run over of his kit for those who haven't seen him before, that'd probably be a good place to start.
Yeah, so the most important part of his kit is his Q ability. Now, his Q ability is a small fireball that is targeted. You just hit a single target. It's very straightforward. But you get stacks, and you get these stacks by either last hitting something with your Q or hitting an enemy champion with an ability. If you hit multiple champions with the same ability, you get multiple stacks. So you can, if you get a level 1 fight, I've had a level 1 fight where I got 10 stacks just because I was able to hit multiple champions. So you ramp up these stacks. Now, what do you do with these stacks? Well, at 25 stacks, your Q becomes an exploding fireball that explodes around the target you're hitting. At 125 stacks, your Q has a little bounce to it where you hit something, and then in a cone behind your Q, you will shoot additional fireballs, scaling with the amount of stacks you have. And then the big one coming in at 225. At that point, you start applying a burn, and you practically get an Elder Dragon buff consistently on your champion. And the champion scales infinitely. It's like, Senna, Veigar, Sion, that kind of champion. You will keep scaling and scaling and scaling, and the execute threshold will go up and up and up, and so will the damage of your abilities. So it can become an incredible champion in terms of output. The only downside is the range isn't super long. Your mobility is limited to just your E, which gives you a movement speed boost and allows you to go over terrain. But you are quite susceptible to something like a Nocturne jumping you and trying to one-shot you. So I do like something like Nocturne R8 to try and counter the Smolder. Now, the other abilities we will talk about more in-game, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good time. I think that's good to leave that one for the Rift. Talking about the builds, though, because the sort of day one build, which is sort of, Essence Reaver, Trinity Force, that seems to have fallen off in the minds of a lot of people. And I've seen a lot more go for Spear of Shojin into AP with Liandry's and Riftmaker to give him a little bit more tankiness to actually survive a little bit better on his own.
Yeah, there are some weird builds going on. You can do so many things, and I'm kind of waiting to see, when he's picked more frequently in Pro, because I think only NA had him enabled for the past weeks. We haven't really seen him pop up yet in the other major regions. So there are kind of three builds that I've been seeing. One is the build that I have been running most as well, which is the Essence Reaver into the um, um, Navori Quick Blades into like Bloodthirst or whatever, like just AD, auto
Ah,
attack. And
mhm.
you scale quite well. It's quite strong. You get the Sheen proc. You really want to get something like an Essence Reaver just because you want to have the mana regen. You're very mana hungry if you want to keep spamming your Q, which you want to do for your stacks. Now, Fleet is something that we're hovering right now, and it's something that's run quite often on the on Smolder. You can do two things really. You can either run Fleet Footwork, you're more of an auto attack focused, hey, I want to sustain build. You can also run a different build. That's kind of what you were talking about. You can run a build where you run Comet, you go Mana Flow Band, and you itemize a little bit more into AP. You focus a bit more on the W as well for poke, and you try and well, you're actually a bit of a stronger early game champion. You can get a bit more pressure. Although I feel like that build is mostly played in mid lane, where you're the only champion. Whereas in bot lane,
Hmm.
because you're more of like a protected hyperscaling champion, you run fleet just to be able to scale up efficiently.
Looking onto the rift as the minion waves crash in the mid lane, we see both junglers starting towards their respective top sides. That's something we've seen before, but Fat Shield will walk in looking to get some vision down. So when Gallop is finished doing his wolf camp, that'll get him level 2. He has a choice. He can now choose to go towards bot side and do a sort of reverse clear, or he can just, step onto vision and accept the fact that Garden Gaming are going to know where he is. And that's exactly what he's going to do, which means that now Bash does have a sort of freedom to be able to roughly know where Gallop is for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, and if Fatshield can play this early laning phase correctly, he should be able to win out in the trades against Cassandra because his Q is just
Ah,
such a super strong tool. So now he can play.
level 2 came in for the unique bot lane, though. Mikkel already been jumped on. Cleanse down. Kansha will be stepping away from that, but good use of getting that level 2 so early. And we need to note, Mikkel started actually with the Achu, the W, sneezing that fireball forwards. It does damage that scales very well with AP. And he has started with the Doran's Ring. And of course, if you hit a champion with that ability, you get stacks. So
Yeah,
just kind of chilling.
yeah. In the early game, as we talked about, Smolder for the first 25 stacks isn't really a champion. You really want to just focus on getting the last hits with your Q, getting a bit of poke in with your W, trying to manage your mana to the point where you're not running out. And you can see in top lane now as well. This is what I talked about. This matchup is pretty good for Trundle. Trundle will always win the 1v1 as far as I'm aware, as long as you're somewhat even.
By the way, Trundle did get nerfed on 14.3, but yeah, this does seem to be a strong enough matchup for him, at least in the early lane. Synapse has been very much stuck underneath his tower right now. Fat Shield has built up a little bit of a CS advantage. It's not going to be anything too damaging in the long run. And Synapse will now bounce it away from his turret.
Yeah, and he
Looking
doesn't have
towards the
to
bot
worry.
side.
He doesn't have to worry one bit about the jungler being topside right now because he knows that
Yeah,
Nocturne started topside and has to path bot side unless he went for level 3
you
gank,
say
which
that.
the Marcus already kind of missed. Both junglers would meet each other at the bottom scuttle, but I think Bash is doing something very smart. He knows the top wave has just bounced back into Fat Shield. Fat Shield can still go in for aggressive trades, and it looks like Bash is moving off top lane trying to get the scuttle. Now, I don't think he can get a gank off easily here because I feel like at this point, because Bash wasn't seen in bot lane, it is known that he's around top side. But Synos has to be very careful. He's low HP right now, and Brent could go for a dive if they crash the wave.
Yeah, we now see Bash stepping into the topside jungle just as the Wolf Camp, I think, respawned from Gallop. And so he's going to get on in there, get a nice, easy clear because Brand, despite the nerfs, still clears very, very quickly.
I love this early game from GG. They played very well towards the top lane. They knew where Nocturne was. They punished Nocturne by grabbing his wolf camp. Now, Nocturne is trying to look for an invade right now, but he doesn't know where Brand is, so he can't really move in aggressively. His top laner doesn't win the 1v1, so it's very hard for him right now to actually go for an aggressive play, and he has to just accept that he's given up a camp.
Yeah, and Bash gets a cheeky recall off, gets out back onto the rift with a blasting one, which is going to make an already fast clear even speedier. Of course, this Brand just wants to get to level 6 as quickly as possible, run at you and press Pyroclasm, and then there are some other abilities too.
It's true, but in the end, you just mash your keyboards, and as long as something lands, your passive will do the heavy lifting. So
Mm.
it's a really fun champion to play in team fights. Now, Gallop is trying to sneak some grubbies. Have you decided on a name you give them? Because I feel like I've heard so many
You know,
different
like,
names.
there's so many different ones. KVW trying to step in, has to flash away from the seismic shove. Damage coming in though. Mikkel gets caught with the Zenith Blade. Holmberg trying to jump forwards. The Ignite goes down. Not quite able to finish the plasma proc. I think if Holmberg had flashed for that, honestly, that might have been the kill.
Yeah, I do think so. Now, the good thing is the wave is slightly bigger for GG, so it is going to push. Oh,
Gyro, you can't get away with that, my man. Needs to land a hook, needs to flash away. And an overstay from the GG support. That's a big cooldown gone, especially since he's not running the Hex Flash this time.
yeah, although I almost feel like that was a mistake by Unique, because I think at this point, because they went this aggressive and they also hit the wave, they make sure that the wave bounces back into GG, and now they have to commit for a crash. And I think Mikkel might actually get a bit more experience in gold because the wave is now at his turret instead of being denied by the enemy wave. Now, I want to talk about the amount of stacks that we have on Mikkel. As you can see, Mikkel is currently sitting on 26 stacks. So if we could take a look at the next wave, we can see that his Q will now do a bit of an explodey thing around the next minion. Please go farm a camp.
Please go and exemplify what we were just talking about. Mikkel.
I mean, he probably
by the way, props. He is using the correct chroma. There we go. As you see there, the Q now goes AoE at 25 stacks. Also, yeah, shout out Mikkel for using the Spyro chroma.
Yes, and just to reiterate about the stacks, you get a stack for last hitting with Q. That does mean that if you last hit all 3 casters, which you can do with 1W
Very
into
easily.
a Q, that's 3 stacks for you. And that's why the first 25 stacks feel very slow. And you might be thinking, oh, but how do you ever get to like 225? Well, it's because your wave clear gets a lot better.
Be a bit careful here. Goes for the all-out. Synapse doesn't need his jungler, apparently. Gallop coming forwards as well, but there is the wall from Ericsson, and Synapse going to be left out to dry. I think he feeling himself a little bit too much there. Bit of a desync between the Unique top and junglers.
That is where
nah, bro, I got this. Narrate like little narrator Morgan Freeman voice. He did not have.
That is where you come in as Gallop, and you're like, bro, what
bro,
the hell?
What?
What? I was there. It's like when you gank a Mordekaiser and your Mordekaiser is like, let me ult him right now while my jungler is here.
Yeah.
It feels so bad.
Yeah, I feel that. Well, Garden Gaming are the first to get onto the board, and we didn't talk about the grubs. They were eventually, it was 2-1 picked up by Unique, so of course that means they're the ones with the potential to get the 5 buff, but we'll see that again.
Yeah, so he's taken through the wall here. I think Synapse is like, yeah, I can 1v1 this guy, but I think they underestimate Trundle ulti. Obviously, they have first move on Ericsson because of the Talia ultimate, and that is a free kill, going over the fat shield in a lane that he was already winning and is now winning even more handedly. He has a 20 CS lead, and, you know, he's getting to the point where nobody can stop him soon. If he keeps building and building and building this lead, especially if they can get a couple more grubbies on their hands, Trundle is going to become an unstoppable split pushing machine.
I mean, he's already most of the way to Titanic Hydra as well, which pretty much everyone knows is a kind of busted item
at
the moment, because an auto attack reset on a character like Trundle that's already attacking at probably around the attack cap at level 18, then yeah, it's pretty nasty, especially if you got all of that other stuff stacked up, subjugate, and all of that. 9 minutes. We're looking towards the Drake right now. What we normally see, obviously, is first grubs get picked up by one team and the other goes for the Drake. Not so this game.
Yeah, in this game, both junglers were around topside when the grubs went down, so they couldn't really do a cross-map attempt there. It is also a little bit difficult right now for GG to play around the Drake because their bot lane just doesn't have the push, and Kai'Sa plus Leona definitely has a bit more pressure right now, but we have to keep in mind that Mikkel is scaling up very effectively. He does appear to be going for the Navori Quickblade first item, I think, because I think those are the components.
Is that Navori? I don't think
Navori?
I think this looks like Shojin to me.
I mean, maybe they have the same... Actually, wait, yeah, that's Shojin. That's Shojin. Sorry, that's Shojin. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm mixing up the items.
This seems to be the build that I mentioned earlier. KVW has to use the Spirit Rush to get away from the Seismic Shove. And it's going to be Garden Gaming getting in towards the top side right now. It seems like it's going to be second grubs that are traded as Gallop looking to start near the Drake, or potentially looking for a dive actually, onto Nickel, who has been left all alone bot side, will call his mum, will be able to clear out the most of the way, but instead...
What?
Flies
up the wall?
You can go into the wall! Isn't going to matter all that much, though, as the kill
But Ericsson coming in?
Ericsson is here, however, using the seismic shove onto Gallop, hook onto Holmberg as well. Ericsson doing a good chunk of damage. Going to try and get away from this one. Kancia will be able to tank up a decent chunk of damage, but it is Holmberg all alone and now on the run, trying to get away from Ericsson. And the Unraveled Earth will make the blast code into Holmberg's demise. And that's 3 more for Gun Gaming.
Yeah, that dive completely backfired, and I did not know you can go into the wall of that. I know Kane can do that, but I guess I now have a new strat for my solo queue games.
Manages to step out into the stands for a second. I mean,
yeah.
that's really neat tech.
Yeah, because it can buy you some time for your team.
Exactly. It didn't do Mikkel all that much this time around, but you know, that's decently helpful. We can see that one again.
Yeah, so he goes into the wall here. Nocturne apparently does follow it, but the damage is actually dodged by that, I think, because Nocturne can't follow. That's actually a really weird attack, but very interesting. So then, you know, he dies, but now they're all stuck under the turret, and Ericsson is coming in on the ultimate. Great damage here by Ericsson, and then the hook here on Holmberg to make sure he can't get out either. Ericsson just keeps pumping out the damage. Sharo is, well, pretty much unkillable at this point. And here I was scared because I thought Ericsson might flash into an RE charm or something and get one shot, but he gets the burst first. Holmberg is dead immediately, and KVW can't do anything.
And I want to remind you again that Mikkel also set that up nicely by calling Mum to clear out the wave. It was only the siege minion left as Gallop manages to dodge out a decent chunk of the damage, doesn't get the brand passive big explosion proc. The Blaze. KVW stepping forwards. Unique, they seem to be interested in getting this Drake, but they don't seem to want to commit all that much for it.
Yeah, we have a bit of a stalemate going on right now. I do want to point out, by the way, that top lane has already lost 2 plates. Fat Shield is building up a massive lead. If we could quickly swap over to the gold in a moment, I would like to see how much gold he is up. And yeah, he is up 1.5 gold right now. He just completely ignores Synapse. He's like, no, this turret is mine. You know, now it's 2k gold. And this Trundle is absolutely out of control. The only issue with Trundle as a champion has always been... Nope. As I hold my breath.
Uses the Spirit Rush to get away. A large chunk of damage will come down, but doesn't burn the flash at least. We are looking in a minute's time towards the Rift Herald, however, and with Garden Gaming securing those grubs, obviously there won't be any Void Might spawning, but the better side of that buff does go Garden Gaming's way. They're currently trying to really pressure this topside jungle.
Yeah, just want to make sure Fat Shield can crash the wave without being collapsed upon. But the one issue that Trundle sometimes faces is it's an amazing side lane champion, but sometimes you can lack a little bit of influence in team fights because you have to walk up to people. And if you can't reach people, if you can't gap close, you can be CC'd and just blown up, because quite often you will itemize quite aggressively. You won't be super tanky unless there's a super tank from the other side that you can subjugate the stacks from. And there is Leandry's Torment finished for Bash. He is going to just keep burning people to the ground, and he is just such a strong champion at this point of the game.
Mom says I'm not supposed to eat you.
I heard you like burns, so I'm going to put burn on your burn so you can burn when you burn.
There we go. You know, I've spent more time than I'd like to admit just spamming emotes on that champion. You know, Spyro from Wish is quite entertaining.
That just going to become a thing now. I'm not against it, as Mikkel might be in some trouble. Calls Mom again to clear out the way. Doesn't have E this time. The damage will be enough to make it happen. But Ericsson on the TP will be able to trade back for Kancia. So at least it is a 1-for-1. Mikkel goes down.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1, but they committed 4 people down bot lane. Bash gets a free Herald. Yes, teleport for Ericsson went down, but hey, fine. He gets to clear the wave. Doesn't lose anything in mid lane because KVW was also in bot lane. So this was just a pure good play for GG.
I kind of want to be in the headspace of Smoller's mum. Like prior to this, it's like, why are you calling me to not like kill the actual enemies?
Yeah.
Floats away.
Yeah, so E was used early, can't go into the wall this time around. Wouldn't have mattered really, I think, because at this point you just get so much burst. But you kill trade someone, you might have gotten a couple stacks, hitting some champions here and there with your ultimate, your W, your Q. Something must have hit a champion. If we could get a quick stat check, a quick stack check on the Smolder, so we can see where 96. He is. 96 stacks, so keep in mind 125 is when the next mark comes in. I'm not quite sure.
Heavily accelerated.
Yes, because that's when you get the bouncing orbs and a cone behind your already exploding orb. So, it's kind of like this thing where you just stack mechanics on mechanics on mechanics, and it's kind of exponentially becoming better. So I feel like 125, as you mentioned earlier as well, is kind of where this champion goes from being, hey, I'm all right, to, hey, I might actually be able to do something useful in team fights.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Mikkel is still just purely on the stack train, you can see. Organizing such that you get as many stacks as possible.
Ooh, one very cool piece of tech that I want to point out now that we have a little bit of downtime.
Do tell.
Camps give a stack not based on the CS amount, but the amount of actual units in the camp. So if you do something like raptors or wolves, or crocs, sorry.
To Kanche. Decent bit of damage.
So, a piece of tech that I've been using is I played in mid lane with a jungler that doesn't really require too much CS. And at some point in the mid game, I started taking all the... Oh, wait, we have fights.
Caught by the seismic shove. This is going to turn into a big old fight, though. TP coming in from Fat Shield Gallop on the run, flashes out, but I think there should be a pillar with his name on it. Still trying to get away. The rocks will not matter, but Bash is able to catch it with the Conflagrate. KBW is trying to get forward, flashes away. Fat Shield still on the chase. Subjugate going down, running through with the Ghost. And the Titanic Hydra will chomp on through KVW. And it seems like Unique try and start the plays. And every single time, Garden Gaming is just like, all right, bet. I got a TP for this.
Oh, bye.
My jungler's here.
Where is he going? Wait, hold on.
Oh, he was trying to initial D it. Was not quite able to manage that. Shelly will sheepishly walk back to mid lane, where she will be finished off by Synapse. We don't need to see that, as we'll see that fight again.
We have some more bot in action, so this is a lot of damage going Mikkel's way, but Mikkel is actually staying alive quite well, and there's a lot of burst from Holmberg after he gets the ultimate, gets the passive proc as well. I think that a return kill might come through. No, it doesn't. That's a double kill going over to the Kai'Sa.
EK, that's a Bloodsong Leona.
Oh.
That's a Bloodsong Leona. I've tried this. Great fun.
Wait,
jump in, E onto somebody, Q them, and they're suddenly taking 10% more damage.
Oh no! Oh, are we back to this kind of meta? I distinctly remember. Was it like 2017 when Misfits played against Q1? No, it wasn't PTA. I think it was like over a battle or something like that.
Oh, yes.
Like the red thing.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Like all the tech for Leona. I feel like Leona is sometimes kind of like Ezreal, where you're like, this tech.
So, I think my mental space is
there we go. The evolve.
126 stacks. We saw the evolved Q there, but the thing with going Bloodsong here, Kanche, if you go Celestial Opposition, the Crown of the Shattered Queen replacement, it's just going to get knocked off. Bash can poke you, Ericsson can poke you, Mikkel can poke you, it'll just drop off. Instead, go for the Bloodsong, make it easier to burst that primary target down.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, I haven't really played too much support or really talked about there's too many support players, so I don't know exactly which item is best on which champion. But I feel like Bloodsong, like in theory, it makes a lot of sense. You want to go in, you want to see one target and blow him up. If you can get a damage amplification on that target, I mean, I don't see the problem with that. I think that's going to be quite effective.
If I recall correctly, Celestial Opposition is the, standard on Leona, but you do have to consider the composition you're going against. Because, if there is a lot of poke or a lot of long-ranged damage that could potentially knock off opposition, then it's basically nothing if you lose it before a fight breaks out. So, that's what I'm saying. Going for the Bloodsong instead, make it so this unique pick comp can do their job that much easier. Yes, you're going to be a little bit less tanky, potentially, but, I mean, Leona, that's all relative. Leona is always tanky.
Yeah, and speaking of tankiness, I do want to look at the builds coming out for GG here, because there is double Leandris, which gives HP. There is a Rylai's, gives HP. There is a Seraph's, gives some survivability. There is a Shojin and Triforce, both give HP. So even though there are multiple relatively squishy champions on the side of GG, they are all building some form of HP, making it so much harder for Nocturne to actually make sure he gets the kill.
Yeah, and we're seeing the tankier build coming out from Gallop here. Obviously, the experimental Hex Plate is kind of a no-brainer when you've got Paranoia with as long cooldown as it has. But right now, we're looking across the map. We are past the 20-minute mark, so Garden Gaming, if they felt that way inclined, if they've got a brand, you are going to burn through the Baron really, really quickly.
Yeah, and I absolutely love the Hex Plate build, because it just makes sure you pretty much always confirm your fear. It's very difficult to get away from it.
Might be in some trouble. There is the pillar coming down. Weaver's Wall will drop as well. Gallop trying to get away. Mom gets called to help. The fight will break out though. Kanche is the one caught in the middle. Going to try and soak up as much damage as he can. Not dropping for now. KBW trying to get away, but Mikkel will take him down. Holmberg on the run back will get that one. Kanche trying to run. Ericsson will take that. Never mind. Bash will rack up a double kill. And don't even need to start the Baron with any form of risk on the page, because GG, they take down 3 and then they'll get it. Yeah, it's just gravy. Oh, Baron, don't mind if I do.
Yeah, and the Baron is just super free right now with Brand passive coming in as well. This is just a great catch. Holmberg does get out initially here, trying to jump over the wall. Gallop is forced out of the fight, but here just, you know, the damage from GG is just so much higher. They just front to back this team fight. They chase everyone down. Mikkel is completely untouched. Make sure he gets a kill here. W is over the wall in the second to try and help out Ericsson. Ericsson then secures another kill, and at this point, oh sorry, Bash gets that kill, but at this point it's just, you try and front to back this composition, but you're fighting into a choke point against a Brand.
This isn't necessarily the best front-to-back comp either. Like, Leona is going to get tanky. Cassante will get tanky eventually, but Synapse has not had a good time of it this game. It feels like Fatshield was kind of knocking him all over the shop in lane. Shira nearly gets caught by a charm, but not going to be much of a concern. And if I look at the map right now, look at the vision. In fact, the production, could we have a look at specifically, the unique vision? That is a very, very dark rift, EK.
Hey, I see 2 wards. The Raptor camp is secured by Unique. But yeah, they see nothing. They can't face check anyone, because if they face check a Nautilus, a Brand, or even like Trundle with his pillar, nobody is safe right now. So this is just free turret territory. They're trying to force.
Instead, they're going to try and force onto Fatshield. The Trundle versus 3 is getting melted through decently, but has got a heck of a lot of healing as well. The Sundered Sky doing so much work for Fatshield. He will drop eventually. Shutdown goes across to Holmberg, but look at the base of Unique. They push on in. The tier 2 has already gone down. The inhibitor turret is down to less than a third. Unique might try something. Weaver's Wall, I think that will cut off the play. Unique, they get the pick they want, but they don't lose just nothing for it.
All right, I do think Unique made the correct call there, though. They said, hey, we can't contest this push against GG. They're way stronger than we are right now. Our composition isn't even built to 5v5 team fight. So let's try and force on the one split pusher, which is the solution to the scenario. But the problem, and you just mentioned it as well, is the composition from them is not built to 5v5. They had to try and force picks, and they tried to do this in the early game, but unfortunately they couldn't. And that is actually a really cool knock-up over the wall.
Honestly, that looked cool. I think Holmberg was honestly kind of grateful for it. I think they got him to mid just that tiny bit faster.
I agree.
Now. We are on the Chemtech Rift. Ignore what the top left is telling you. Thank you, Spectator Point. We'll be the first Chemtech Drake of the game. GG, of course, they have complete map control right now, so it will be simple as that to pick up. But we're at 24 minutes, EK. And this is the 3rd Drake of the game. This is no soul point. Theoretically, if Unique hold off for long enough, like, it's going to be a while yet before soul.
Yeah, although I don't think at this point you really care that much about soul. I don't think the soul is going to be that effective at closing out this game. It's not really a win condition you need to play around. I think at this point, GG actually almost doesn't want to take it, just because that opens up a potential window for an Elder Dragon flip if something goes completely wrong. And I think as long as you just don't give them a window in right now, GG should have this game in the bag. They do outscale the 5v5 team fight. They do now have 183 stacks, or 184 stacks on Smolder. And Smolder is going to get to 225 pretty soon, which is when, you know, they don't even need Elder buff anymore because they have Elder buff at home.
Yeah. Permanent single carry Elder buff for Mikkel will be coming up before too long. We've got less than 50 stacks until we get there. It just means, as you said, he just needs to be able to get a couple of chicken camps, get a couple of waves, and as long as you make sure that you are, you know, vigilant with your clearing of the waves. There we go.
Yeah,
There's 3 more stacks right there. 193.
Pretty much the only way at this point that GG can throw this game is if they spread too thin across the map. They get collapsed upon by Gallop plus KVW plus Kensuke or something, and they just get absolutely one-shot, and then that rolls over into a Baron. Something like that, where 1 or 2 members get caught by GG. As long as they stick somewhat together and they just have Trundle on the side lane, and they just make sure that, you know, the other party of 3-4 people is in a position to grab something on the other side, there really isn't an easy way back.
Oh, hello, Fat Shield. Walking on in towards Gallop here, and the Nocturne's not going to have a great time of it. Synapse is here. Might be a big fight over this red buff. It does get secured by Unique, but the rest of Garden Gaming are coming in. The depth charge onto Gallop will be ignored. Synapse trying to get away. Weaver's Wall coming through. The damage is dropping. Shiro dropping low as well, but Synapse, his team can't get to him. He will be dropped. The 11th kill for Garden Gaming. Feels like this bot inhibitor is pretty much dead to rights. I wanted to point out Holmberg, though. We have got the AP Kai'Sa this game. I don't know how much it's going to matter, but we are seeing that Kancha flashes forward, trying to get onto Bash, but unable to reach him. KVW using the Spirit Rush as well to clear out the wave, try and find some sort of angle, but it is almost flailing, struggling from Unique, trying to find something as wave after wave is being crashed into their base game.
Yeah, it's so rough right now, because at this point, Fat Shield is just like, hey, I'm a Fat Shield, I'm gonna stand right in front of everyone. Kai'Sa can't penetrate. So
He walked up and queued KVW and forced the flash.
Yeah. The slow is too strong, the movement speed is too strong. Fat Shield is just kind of immortal at this point of the game. You saw how long it took them in the 3v1 to even take him down. Well, he's even stronger now because he's got a little bit more. You know, he has Spirit Visage for the extra healing. He is about to pick up what I believe is going to be a Randuin's Omen. He is just, at this point, almost unkillable, especially in the front-to-back team fight. And his damage threats... Oh, Ericsson.
Oh, the fight onto Ericsson. That might be big for Unique. The flash out. The Talia looks like she will survive to fight another day. There is the W out of Holmberg. Very, very low. Kancha still on the chase. Drops the Solar Flare to pick up the shutdown, but Fat Shield has TP'd in for the play. Kancha might be in some trouble. Mom flies over the top. The flyby. It's mostly like the red arrows, not doing a great deal, just looking very pretty. Fat Shield still on the chase, though. Gallop, the rest of Unique on the run. For a second, I thought Ericsson being caught might lead to a potential Baron play for Unique, but no. GG, straight back onto the map, straight back to pushing on in. Mikkel is 5 stacks from being an Elder Drake.
I mean, it was a great call by Unique. We have to give them credit. They made sure to wait at the perfect moment where all the recalls came through, except for Ericsson, forced the engage, forced the flash, forced the kill. Unfortunately, because Fat Shield comes in and just starts slapping you with a big club, you can't really do anything else. But we probably get a replay of that specific scenario. There we go. We get the recalls, and Kansuke is just kind of waiting. Gallop is also waiting, and there we go. Leona CC right into, well, pretty much every single ultimate available to them. They can't quite confirm the kill. But unfortunately, Leona is being a hero while Baron is being taken in the live feed. And
yeah.
Sniper!
I mean, nice from Kancha. Don't know how much it's going to matter, though, as Gallop goes in, gets absolutely melted. Mom's going to fly over the top, and we can see that little white line on Kanshare. Mikkel has hit that spot, and it's going to be detonation for the members of Unique, fleeing to the 4 winds, but they are not going to have any mercy. They're in the wrong garden today. as Bash goes unstoppable. It's an ace for Garden Gaming. They can walk straight on down the mid lane. There's the Weaver's Wall. Some landscaping coming through as Garden Gaming will close out their win.
Yeah, very, very clean performance by Garden Gaming. They made sure to really absorb the pressure in the bot lane. They got leads elsewhere. Bot lane was still very much useful, and their team composition, having a good front to back, was just completely taking over these team fights.
Fantastically done by Garden Gaming. Smolder's first game in the NLC and Smolder's first win by Mikkel. Amazing performance from Mikkel, or was it just GG diff?
I mean, I think the best part of Mikkel's gameplay here was just making sure he didn't tilt off the planet when 4 or 5 people came and dove him every time. Because if you look at the other parts of the map when that was going on, you know, they were winning everywhere. They were countering. They were getting kills. He was getting kills. I think the game plan for Unique was very strong, and they were like, hey, we need to make sure we snowball our bot lane, snowball through there. Smolder is weak early game. We will secure kills. We'll blow up the game through bot lane. And I think the plan was correct, but the execution was a bit lacking. They were going for dives that maybe could have worked, but kind of got turned on their head. And that kind of, well, did the opposite of what I wanted to achieve. But I can definitely see what they were trying to do.
Yeah, the idea was solid, but Garden Gaming, they seem to have their number at every turn. There was always an Ericsson TP, or a Fat Shield TP, or a Bash waiting off in the wings to counteract whatever Unique wanted to do. Great win from Garden Gaming. That gets them back to winning ways after their 3-game loss streak. Unique be back to the drawing board. They can continue searching for wins as we go forwards, but we will be throwing it across to a quick break. But when we come back, Chaos Esport will be going up against Rich Gang in our second game of the day. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few. And welcome back to the NLC Second Division ahead of game number 2. We've got Chaos Esport going up against Rich Gang. 4-4 versus 5-2. So Rich Gang, they've got a game in hand. They've also obviously on the better overall trajectory. But do you have a particular thought coming into this one? I mean, Chaos have been on a decent streak right now. There are 2 wins in the pocket.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there is definitely, both teams are on a good trajectory, but Chaos won. Oh, sorry, Rich Gang won their last game, and Chaos won their last 2 games. So both teams are definitely doing quite well. I'm unfamiliar with the teams to the point where I don't really know exactly what to expect of either team, but you can definitely see Rich Gang is looking pretty strong right now, trying to push their way up with Fourth Wall and Blue Whites, who are 7-1 and 6-2. So they definitely want to try and make sure they get into that top 3.
I am specifically interested in the bot lane for this specific matchup. Not to say anything like bad about the rest of the maps, but when you've got Certified Random and Fruity Fresh in the AD carry role, then yeah, that's where I'm going to gravitate towards. And I think both of these players very capable of playing the Smolder for one. That's going to be interesting to see if he pops up once again. And definitely players that can put a game on their back. And, well.
Then who do you think would be more likely to bust out the Smolder today? Do you have a preference?
So, Fruity is a certified mad lad who will play basically anything. So, I feel like I'll give it like a 10% edge to Fruity Fresh on pulling out, on like being slightly more likely to pull out the Smolder, but I really don't think it's that much difference. What I'm interested to see is whether Fruity Fresh decides to pull out the Ziggs as a counter to the Smolder.
Yeah,
I don't know if that works, by the way.
It could be a good counter. I think one of the things that Smolder suffers with in the early game is your push is not too great unless you want to commit your W to the push, which is quite a high mana cost. And it's also your main poking tool, so you run out of mana after a couple of waves if you keep spamming it, which is why I have seen some people go for, as I mentioned before, the Comet with the mana flow build, starting with a Dorant ring, just to have some more sustain and you can W4. But we don't have to wait too much longer. I like how the Smolder is still sitting there. I think that is a little bit of an error, but that's fine.
Kat, do you want to move him like up with us for a bit? Yeah.
Join us.
Join us, friendo. Welcome to the desk.
Hello. Wait, it's on. Yes,
it's
on this
just
side. Hello.
He's just a happy little guy. Huey is the first ban taken away by Chaos, who will be on the blue side for this game. The fairly common ban we have seen, as is the Varus. The Bard, however, a little bit less so, but I mean, if you've read into Rich Gang all that much, Greg's a pretty sweet Bard.
Yeah, Bard is one of those champions that you don't play against too often, so when you play against a good Bard, you're always like, oh yeah, that's why this champion can be really strong. But you never really consider it in your draft generally, unless you're playing against a really good Bard player. Now, we do once again see very standard bans. I'm not going to talk about the hover before it's locked in. I really, you can't excite me before you're locked in. But I'm trying to figure out what I would like to see here as a first pick. We do still have quite some ADs available, even though... Sorry?
Not Irelia. How about that?
I mean, probably not. And there we go.
There he is. I mean, we thought it was going to happen. It turns out Certified is going to be that 10% man enough to do that. And it might just be Dragon Central as we get the Aurelian Soul locked in for Sumi on Rich Gang. Buffed, hotfix nerfed. Still, apparently, it's enough to get Sumi's attention. And the Maokai didn't get banned, and that's going to get picked up for Rich Gang as well.
That is such a strong teamfight duo already. You have so much zone control. You have the Maokai ultimate coming in. You've got the saplings. You've got the enormous E just like completely collapsing upon the lane. And one really good thing is there is actually a mini quest kind of thing, like Rengar Kha'Zix between Smolder and Aurelian Soul, where you kind of take stacks from one another. And it's a super cool thing, and I'm hoping we get to see it.
Are the little quests actually like doable in competitive?
As in, do they activate?
Sure if they are. Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I'm assuming they do, but I don't know.
Things like the Rengar Kha'Zix, I think, weren't things you'd never really see them for one.
Yeah.
We'll see if it comes up in the game.
I'm hoping.
If so, I'm sure production will let us know. But yeah, no, Maokai Aurelion Sol in a late game team fight. It's like, okay, you just got rooted by Nature's Grasp. Take a Sky's Descent to the face.
I think this is Smolder mid lane.
Solo lane Smolder.
And
the Dragon Rumble in mid lane.
And I've seen mid lane Smolder take the common build more often because you value wave clear a bit more when you're in a solo lane. So I would not be surprised to see that. Now, there are so many potential flex picks right now. You know, you could have Maokai bot lane, top lane, jungle. Akali can go top lane, mid lane. Aurelion Sol I've seen in bot lane as a pick against Smolder because you're not really pressured, so you can scale up effectively as well, even in the bot lane. There is so much flexibility around. You could even set Nautilus into the jungle right now.
So, information, thanks to the great hive mind, Div 2 Information's Carvis. Fruity Fresh got Challenger, spamming Smolder, 81 games played. In ranked on that champion. It is going to be certified random playing it, though, this game. And yes, we've got the Ashe Nautilus in the bot lane. But right now, we haven't seen a bot lane out of Rich Gang. So, as we can see, Chaos, they banned the Braum. They're going to try and take away some options. Meanwhile, Rich Gang, they take away the brand, could look to prioritize the jungle some more as well. In fact, no jungle bans except the brand up to this point.
Yeah, and I think for Rich Gang, I want them to lock in a little bit more engaged. I have Maokai, but I want something to follow up on the Maokai to completely lock down the two immobile carries. So something like you could run back to Leona, you can run something, I was going to say Nautilus, but Nautilus, of course, was already picked by Chaos. So there are so many ways you can go about this, but I feel like they want a secondary engage option to really create space for the Akali to go aggressive.
Yeah, makes a whole lot of sense to do that. And this also entertains the thought, because Fruity Fresh has not just been playing Smolder, he's been playing Aurelion Sol and has a 64% win rate on it. Could put the Asol into the bot lane here, Akali into the mid or top. You see the options coming through. Wukong got buffed on this patch as well. Another one of my personal favorites. And well, this is a whole bunch of new and recently changed things. EK,
and I'm here for it. Yep. I see we're both here for it. That's great. So, I'm not sure how I would feel about a Belvev. Belvev wants to play with pushing lanes, and I don't think the lanes of Chaos are pushing enough. Ornn is just, they are just doubling down on, hey, we can 5v5 team fight these guys. There is also quite some catch potential with Ashe Arrow, Nautilus Ultimate, Ornn Ultimate. There are ways you can catch someone out, but mostly you're just building a team fight composition. I would not be surprised if they have a follow-up like carry jungler here, just because you already have front line from both the top and the support position. Nidalee? I haven't seen Nidalee in competitive in like half a year.
14.3. In fact, I believe if you keep up with Freak's little bits, got buffed up. So the heal and attack speed given from her E, that's her human form E, Primal Surge, have been buffed on this patch. And she got a little bit increased magic resist growth, which is not a huge thing. But when you've got an Ashe on your team, like, the more attack speed you can give to that champion, the better.
All right, this draft was insanity. We've had so much stuff that.
Thank you, Cal. And it's in one of the team names, right about there.
Chaotic.
This is Chaos. This is a Chaos draft. A chaotic Rift for sure, and Fruity Fresh, sure enough, will be playing the Aurelion Sol alongside the Maokai in the bot lane. Level 6 bot lane, that's spooky, especially if the Wukong shows up.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for them to just completely lock someone down. You suck them in, you Maokai root them, you've got, well, 2 roots on your W and your ultimate. Wukong can ulti them. There's a lot of damage as well coming from the Wukong. I was a bit scared that the bot lane for Rich Gang would not have sufficient damage to confirm kills, because obviously, Aurelion Sol as an early game champion isn't that strong. Maokai, while offering an incredible amount of CC, doesn't really offer too much damage in that fight, especially trying to burn through something like a Nautilus. But Wukong coming in there can really swing that fight around. But the pick that I'm very interested in myself is the Camille, because we haven't really seen the likes of Camille come out too much recently. And the main reason for that is that Divine Sundra was, of course, removed.
And terrain.
And terrain, yeah. But just the archetype, not necessarily the champion, but the archetype of those kind of champions has not seen as much play just because Sundra doesn't allow them to deal with tanks. So
that's kind of why Wukong went away as well, though. Like,
exactly.
Wukong was pretty bound to Divine Sundra also. We also see that picked up by Rich Gang in this game. What are you expecting them to build instead? Is it just Triforce?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. You can go Triforce into a regular, bruisery duelist kind of build. I wonder. This is purely like just theory crafting on top of my head right now. I wonder if Blade of the Ruined King on Camille could be any good into a tank to just get some percentage damage back in the duel. But Blade of the Ruined King was also a change where it just slows in the first auto attack of a fight now with a long cooldown on there. So it's a bit of an interesting top lane where I don't really know how it swings, because it used to be that Camille at some point just becomes unkillable, sustains through the tank, and you just can't really contain her. But I feel like it might be a much harder to hit that breaking point where Ornn can just be like, I don't care, I'm Ornn.
Name's Ornn. No further pleasantries needed. And he'll just keep on doing Ornn things throughout the early game. We will keep an eye on the top lane and see if Camille hits that breakpoint you were alluding to, as we will indeed be on to the Rift for our second game of the day. Chaos, this will be their last game of the first round robin, if I'm not much mistaken. Their 9th game. Rich Gang will have one more after this, but be good to properly establish or have a look at the pecking order once all of our teams complete those 9th games. Are you expecting much from this early game then? I mean, we already see some aggression coming out from Chaos.
I mean, Chaos has a lot of tools to go aggressive in the early game with the hook coming through and the consistent slows from the Ashe. So you can definitely go for some aggressive plays. And keep in mind, if you go for aggressive plays with Smolder, every ability that Smolder hits will give them stacks, so that the scaling is just, accelerated just that little bit. One thing in terms of the compositions that I'm just now realizing as well is with Camille Ultimate, being able to lock down one of the immobile carries, even the Nidalee, and then just, having Akali rush in there, having the Aurelion Sol Ultimate come in there, there's so much room to just easily delete one of the carries.
Absolutely. Right now, though, things pretty quiet across the Rift. And I'm looking towards Hatrix right now because we see a very similar start to what we did in the previous game. Stumpy is going to step in.
I like this play, Stumpy.
Spots out the Nidalee. I like the fact that Reflect's like, oh, hey, dude, lob spear at Blue Buff.
It's like, oh, goodbye. I have other things to attend to.
Greg already taking a lot of damage, though. That's 2/3 of his health gone before Fruity even gets into the lane. And they're just completely zoned off right now. This is going to be a free show for Chaos.
Yeah, and they can just make it a very slow crash. You could even have it crash as late as you possibly can, have Nidalee full clear into the bot side, and try and get some action going. Now, you can see that Wukong decided to do red buff into a full clear bot side. So this could mean either he is going to go and try hit level 3 from the bot lane camps and then move in for an early bot lane gank, or he's going to clear back up into top lane, be on the opposite map of Nidalee, so you don't have to deal with the dual potential, and then try and make something happen topside.
Yeah, I mean, Wukong's no slouch in 1v1s, although Greg taking another huge chunk has to burn the flash. He has got Hex Flash, so that's not going to blunt his playmaking potential all that much. The Stumpy aggressing onto Newis, doing a heck of a lot of damage as well. Does he feel it, though? He has got the Brittle proc flash for flash. The Camille goes very low, but Newis also so low that he can't really try for the kill.
And we do have a bit of a mix between the two builds I was talking about, because we do have the Doran to Ring start. We just don't have the Comet and Mana Flow band, so there is a bit more health sustain there on the Smolder right now, which I do think is very important generally. I'm not sure how I feel about the Comet, just because I feel like you just really want to have that movement speed and that sustain, but it is an option.
We see Reflect getting through his clear nice and quickly. That's kind of what we expect from a Nidalee in that early stage. It's going to be very interesting to see how Chaos turn this into a later stage of the game, though, because having a Nidalee, you're giving up quite a lot to do it. You've got to be landing spears. Yankos meme, like insert Yankos meme here. They have got a good front line, though, because they've got Nearest, they've got Sharp on big, beefy front line, and Sharp has also gone for the Aftershock. So he shouldn't just fall to pieces.
Yeah, and it can be a bit difficult to really make Nidalee work, you know, because Nidalee needs to be very proactive. It needs to achieve something in the first 20 minutes of the game.
We're going to pan up a little from bot lane. Broda looking like he might try and get in. Nearest goes forwards. No flash on this Ornn. There is the hookshot wall dive. No Bella's breath to get this one out. Nearest might just die here, but on the other side of the rift, Reflect gets the kill underneath the turret. Stumpy will barely survive the play. And Nearest, I didn't even realize, has already burnt the TP in this lane. So has to now walk back to lane, is going to likely lose a wave, potentially a plate as well.
Yeah, you know, we were watching the top lane fight, but I was looking at the minimap, trying to see what Nidalee was doing.
Wow! Cow's putting so much priority towards this bot side. Reflect takes a tower hit, but will survive. Fruity Fresh stuck beneath his tower on the A-Sol. Certified is going to back off rather than getting the plate here, but the boot really being put in by Cow's bot lane.
Yeah, and the important thing is kills are going into the pockets of Nidalee. We get a replay of, I assume, the bot lane play. Yeah, Nidalee came in from the top side, made sure to get a lot of damage. I think the spear did land. Free kill came in. Greg then stays at that HP, I do believe, walks back up, and then gets taken down by Nidalee still waiting in the bush. Now, fortunately for Fruity Fresh, he did have teleport available, so he doesn't lose too much himself. But giving 2 kills over to Nidalee, making sure Nidalee gets an early Dark Seal plus the boots. This is kind of where the entire game is now in Reflect's pocket. He can be like, well, I can carry this game right now, and if this game is won, it's off his back.
This is a true triple threat comp as well. I mean, Certified can be a threat or can just be an enabler. We've got arrows for days coming out of this Ashe, but has got the lethal tempo, so he's going to do a good chunk of damage, and is versatile in the sense that, okay, well, my Nidalee is super popping off. I can go for a build that doesn't necessarily do quite as much damage, but is going to get me more ults.
Yeah, I definitely think I like Ashe being picked in a composition where you have enough damage, because you can become the real carry if you happen to pick up multiple kills, but you don't have to be the carry.
Meanwhile, looking towards the mid lane, Hatrix, obviously, in the range versus melee matchup, is going to have that advantage. Broda gets found out in the jungle. Nearest will be the one fishing that one up. Nice to get a little kill in pocket, although despite losing and despite dying in the top lane, he's actually up 10 CS to Stumpy. Ooh, yeah, and the hunting.
He might now get into that annoying situation you often get into against Ornn if you're playing a damage threat, where your damage is just not sufficient and Ornn's tankiness is outscaling your damage. So you can just kind of sit back as Ornn. And if you give Ornn the ability to push out and then roam, then you kind of remove the ability for Camille to freely hit your turret. Because if you want to move out on Ornn, the wave is crashed into your turret, you can't, because Camille will take plates. But if you have the ability to push out initially, that's when your pick is allowed to finally roam.
Getting towards that point, honestly. We're across the rift right now. Chaos, after a decent trade on that cross map.
It's a big wave.
Yeah, it's a pretty big wave. Nearest is gonna end up just about on the worst side of that, thanks to the minions. I mean, Hatrix is already at that first stack break point. We can see Cows, they already picked up the first set of grubs. And already, Reflect has got shot by his side, and they're going to get this first Drake as well. So objective-wise, Chaos very much on the board.
Yeah, and this snowball just needs to keep on happening. Now, Chaos is looking to maybe set up a fight here. They do have Ashe ultimate available, but I don't think Rich Gang are looking to contest this right now.
Reflect is 6 as well, by the way. Sumi looking for angle in, found Hatrix. He's going to follow this one up, though. Broda does have the cyclone if he can get in, but Greg is already completely removed. Reflect dropping low, the ignite ticking, but the primal surge will keep him alive. Certified will pick up Sumi. Mom flies over as well, just to salute as Chaos picks up another fight win. And Rich Gang, they're not able to get anything right now.
Yeah, this game is snowballing out of their control. There's a 3,000 gold lead almost here for Rich Gang right now, and we have to keep in mind that there is also 2 permanent buffs on their side. This fight was rough. You know, Sumi was trying to look for an angle, but couldn't really find anything. He did land the E, but then decided not to follow up. Then R2's into Flash to try and kill Reflect. Reflect flashes out, and the fight is completely lost from that point onwards. There's also the thing we have to keep in mind, by the way, that, you know, because fights are happening, Smolder is getting stacks. So the stronger Smolder gets, the harder it's going to be to contest that mid lane push.
Hatrix here, already at 81 stacks. Well on his way to that second breakpoint, and we're not even at 10 minutes yet.
That's
already
quick.
Got 2 assists in his pocket. It is very quick stacking. You know what? This puts me in the mind of Victor, a champion that I have a great affection for. That, yeah, if you get kills or assists in skirmishes early, you can hyperscale your hex core and get online far faster than you might otherwise. And that, yeah, this what you were talking about for Smolder, that's putting me very much in that mindset.
Yeah, I mean, I think both champions were fairly similar, where they both aren't really looking to play too aggressively in the early levels, but definitely do scale very well into team fights later on. I do think Smolder has a bit more of like a hyper carry potential, whereas Victor is more like a, you know, your usual control mage. But still, Victor wants to serve a very similar purpose, where he wants to get to his items as quick as possible.
You haven't seen me play Victor sometimes, my friend.
I mean, Victor can completely pop off, but so can Orianna, you know?
Yeah, true. No, very, very true. That Victor obviously is looking to sort of play the fight back and then chase the opponent down on the re-engage.
And Smolder just yells, "Mom!"
Yeah.
And then wins.
She works for Riot.
See, you know,
have you seen the taunt?
What?
Have you seen that there is a like a 1% taunt on Smolder that says my mum works at Riot and she's gonna ban you?
Oh, I haven't seen that, but that's so cool if that's true.
It is. Yeah.
All right, that's really cool. So you know what I want while we are watching a dive, most likely.
Rich Gang dive. Apparently, all the damage coming forwards. Certified trying to get out flashes away from Broda will be able to step into the way, and Sharp buffering the dredge line. Broda will be able to avoid the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but the TP coming in from Neowis, and Hatrix from the side as well. Sumi and Hatrix in the 1v1 right now. Broda super low, trying to get out of this one. Hatrix will take down one. The chase down is still there. Broda very low, but they're trying to make it happen. Sumi not able to get the damage down. Low health bars on so many Chaos members, but again, they find the skirmish wins.
Oh, and that was so unfortunate there. Rich Gang thought they had the play, but they couldn't quite get in there deep enough to make sure they secure one kill. And then Chaos has Nijhuis teleport in on the Ornn because he had TP advantage. Now Certified could be dead here, but yeah, appears to be fine just popping a quick ghost.
I don't know if he needed to burn that there, but will ensure his survival. Greg on the room does have a flash, but you would have to go very, very ham underneath that tier 1 turret in order to make anything happen. And right now it does look like we are gonna chill. We're gonna calm on down. In 12 minutes, we're gonna put ourselves in the mindset of where we are. Nearly a 4k gold lead for Chaos, as we're gonna see that one again.
Yeah, this fight is just really unfortunate. Unfortunately, Sharp can just Spider-Man his way out. Then, well, Certified hits an arrow on the clone, but here comes the teleport from Ornn. Gets a massive ultimate onto the back line. There's also Mom flying over. Now, Hatrix does get eliminated here by the E into Q from the Akali into the ultimate. But then, unfortunately for Rich Gang, they can't quite confirm the kills here. Sumi is so close to taking out Certified, but gets taken down. Gets hit by an auto attack.
One last hook from Sharp keeps Certified alive. And yeah, 3.5k is the gold advantage for Chaos right now. They've got a Drake in pocket. They've got all 6 grubs in pocket.
We seem to have another fight.
Mike is breaking out. Reflect has been caught out all on his lonesome, and this will be a dead Nidalee. That's a big shutdown going across for Broda. Chaos overplaying their hand a little bit, but Rich Gang did burn a lot to get that.
Yeah, that was a bit of an overstep. Broda might be able to secure the Drake for this as well. Reflect will be up in 10 seconds, and a fight is happening in the bot lane.
Coming through, though. Greg has flash, isn't going to be able to use it. Hatrix will show up And attempt in towards Broda. Goes a little bit too far forwards though. Mom will give a little bit of healing, but Sumi will be able to take that one down. Certified is too low to do anything. Cow's going to try and play bodyguard, keep them at bay. Certified still stepping back. The 5-point strikes not landing. Sharp nearly does it. Broda just about takes Certified down, but that was pixels from being a win. Reflect on the chase now. Autos only required as Broda tries to get out. The tower does take its pound of flesh. Reflect still looking. Greg coming out of base though. It looks like the play will be diffused as pixels make the difference between Certified standing and winning and Broda dropping. It's all pixels, EK.
It is pixel indeed. And man, there have been 18 kills in 14 minutes. We have what I believe is called
Give me these games all day long.
Yes, yes, please keep them coming. And one thing to point out here is that we, of course, have two stacking champions on the Rift right now in the Aurelion Soul and the Smolder, both just trying to work their way towards a high number of stacks. Now, the annoying thing when playing against Aurelion Soul is that because his E gets so incredibly big and his execute also becomes quite strong, it can be very difficult to end the game into an Aurelion Soul if Aurelion Soul plays defensive and you don't have a Baron buff to pressure multiple side lanes, especially when you do not have the duelist in the side lane.
Talking about that scaling again, we look back onto the Smolder. 161 stacks at 15 minutes. Make that 166.
Pretty damn fast.
Scaling up very, very quickly. And Chaos check in again. The Drake did get stopped. Rich Gang are going to look to start this one up again. But Chaos, are they wanting to contest this? Reflect looking for a max range spear. It's going to do a lot of damage if it hits. Smite from Broda will just about get that one secured. Hatrix might need to be a bit careful as the wall dive into the Hextech ultimatum will come through. Sumi will be able to do the damage. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow floats on by. Will exit the rift.
But what do they lose up top lane? They lose an entire top lane turret, all of those minions being pushed in. Unfortunately, because the turret dies, most of those minions aren't denied, but Ornn is in such a good spot right now, and he has an item with such incredible value, just in general, in the Frozen Heart. Now, fortunately for him, unfortunately for Rich Gang, there aren't that many actual auto-attack champions on the side of their team, but that item, in my opinion, is just such incredible value.
Yeah, I mean, even with just the Camille and the Wukong, it is going to prove its worth in this game. And we're already working up towards a next item as well. Newis has heard the conventional logic that you don't want to finish Barmy Cinder until as late as possible. And as production just showed us, we are onto the Hextech Rift. If Chaos can keep their priority, then yeah, that's going to be a real nice thing to have.
Now, we do see some swaps coming in. We have Aurelion Sol moving into the mid lane and Akali moving to the bot lane. Well, Chaos hasn't yet done the swap.
Circle flip. Lands I was thinking it will not be followed.
I feel like if Sharp waited like a little bit more around the corner, then Sumi would have probably gone in trying to assassinate the Ashe there, but that was very close.
Oh, they are aware that Broda's there. Sumi is looking to get in. Double E's, trying to get the perfect execution, but Certified has moved out of range. Sharp will be the sacrificial man. I don't know what Nautilus really is at this point. I don't want to say lamb. Yeah, that's Kindred.
Yeah, it's
just,
like...
he is just not.
He's a submarine.
I mean, he's a legally distinct Big Daddy from Bioshock.
That's true. So I have to call out Sumi there for having an incredible play, as we have another incredible play here by Chaos.
Are you sure about that?
And get a kill. Yeah, I cast the curse.
Yeah, Sumi did great there. Certified though, engaged on in the mid lane, deleted by Fruity and Co. Sharp tanking up for as long as he can, but he's taking a big old chunk as well. When this A-Soul can keep free hitting, Hatrix comes in, will be able to get some kills back. Greg flashes out, but will not be able to survive. Stumpy on the run as well. Can you get a hook shot taking a large chunk of damage. Neowis is going to be happy to tank the tower for Hatrix to pick up a triple kill on the Smolder.
Both
on the
hyper
stats
carries.
again.
224. One more stack. He's going. He's
One
going
more.
for the. Never mind. He just reset. Never mind.
20 minutes, EK.
Yeah, that's really, really fast.
And he's
there's
gonna have
been
an
so much
ultimate base
fighting
too.
in this game. You know, he has good CS. He is roughly at about the 10 per minute mark with a lot of fighting going on. That is a good amount of CS to have. But, you know, because he's been hitting stuff everywhere, there's been fights so many times that he's getting stacks all over the place. So he is almost at his power spike. He also just finished his second item. So he is now in prime position to take over this game. And the next Drake contest is coming up in 1 minute.
1 minute 20. We'll see what other items can be completed. I see 2 needlessly in Reflect's back pocket. I imagine he would very much like to turn those into a Rabadon's. How's he doing full gold production? Can we have a look at that? 280. I doubt, unless both teams do a gentleman's agreement on not doing Drake, that we'll see a death cap before that fight. But needless to say, Kaos in a good spot. But, I mean, Rich Gang, they're getting up on their power spikes as well. Sumi might be in a bit of trouble here as the push comes in from Hatrix. Reflect and Neowis closing in as well. Gets on out with the Shuriken flip. Sumi does have the flash as well. Gets knocked up by the call of the forward drop. The chase down isn't really here. Mom gets called forwards. Fruity is coming in to try and save the play. Dragon versus Dragon. That's a lot of damage. The stun from Certified catches Sumi out of the Shuriken flip. Broda trying to find the way forwards, but it's too much damage. Hatrix landing execute after execute. Stumpy is coming in, lands onto Hatrix. Fruity trying to make the damage happen. It's a triple kill for Hatrix, but he does go down. Sumi drops as well, though, and it's Stumpy versus Reflect and Sharp. Stumpy deletes Reflect, and now Sharp needs to run away from the Camille. Never mind. Nautilus damage, baby. As Certified wasn't even in the fight, just throws an arrow and says, "See ya, fellas."
Oh man, this is a I was gonna say this is a certified banger, but that palm was a bit on the nose there. But this fight was incredible.
That arrow was a certified banger.
We had so much stuff going on here. First, we have a dive on the Sumi. Sumi dodged it with the ultimate, gets out pretty nice there. You think, okay, the fight is over. But no, Chaos decides to keep chasing this. The Shroud comes through. They can't really see him. So he keeps running. He's perfectly fine. But then we have Fruity Fresh coming in with a big ultimate, trying to make sure he gets damage down. But, you know, you will see here that he will not be able to get all the damage down that he wants to. Broda getting a massive ultimate onto the backline. And here we start to see Hatrix coming in with the executes. Keep your eye on that little white line on the health bars. That's the execute threshold. And there we go. One of them is exploding right about there. Meanwhile, Fruity Fresh is
live, though.
Fruity Fresh is keeping the pressure up. He's trying to get some kills going, but he just can't confirm any of the kills. Flies in, tries to get Reflect, does get Reflect. And man, these hyper carries are both going to become such incredible monsters as this game goes on.
Looking elsewhere on the Rift, as we saw in the picture-in-picture of live, next Drake, the first Hex Tech, got picked up by Rich Gang, and Reflect got dropped. Sumi waiting offside as Scott might be in some trouble. Nautilus gonna flash away. Broda gonna be able to use the Warrior Trickster to get out to safety. That's a big cooldown potentially gone from the Nautilus, gonna make him a lot easier to kill going forwards.
Oh, Herald was summoned. I'm assuming that's because Herald was expiring. So let's see if Chaos can do anything with it.
Well, we're gonna go into pause as we are at 22 minutes in the game. And we were talking about Chaos' early game being so good, and that fight was fantastic. But coming out of it, we see the Drake take by Rich Gang. Where's the power balance for you? Like, you want to percentage it?
I think it's really rough because I'm trying to gauge how strong both of these hyper carries are going to become and how they play into each other. And I'm not used to having two stacking champions on opposite sides of each other, like, you know, scaling away. I feel like it is going to be better long-term for Chaos just because they have the double AD carry composition where one of them gets an execute that also scales well with max HP and gets a cool burn. So I feel like at that point the damage is going to be higher. But you have to keep in mind that Aurelion Sol at some point is going to just absorb the entire lane with one E, and it's going to be hard to even move in as the AD carry. So it really depends on Fruity Fresh's ability to utilize his E, and then of course Stompy's ability to lock down a target that needs to become executed very quickly. So I would say, at this point, probably like a 55-45 to Chaos, but that's saying something because there's a 4K gold lead, and normally you'd expect the percentages to be much bigger at that point. It's just, I feel like it's hard to gauge.
I'm glad that you pointed out Stumpy, though, because I feel like he's going to be quite an X factor for Rich Gang in these fights. The one that sort of picks the first target for Fruity Fresh to burn through. And we saw in that last fight, dealt with hat tricks, dealt with Reflect, was an absolute menace, and eventually goes down to Sharp, but that's not to say that he didn't have a huge impact in that fight.
Yeah, and we just need to make sure we keep an eye on these stacks. And I for one would love this game to go very long because I am a big fan of the whole hyper carry, insane amounts of stacked like power fantasy. But look at that Q. That's one Q there on Sumi. Sumi is like, what is it, like lost a third of his HP? And keep in mind there's an execute number.
Yeah, Hatrix is gonna keep firing away as well with the Achus.
We also have ornaments coming in a second, by the way.
That we do. We weren't talking about it. Neowis has already completed the Unspoken Parasite. It's one of the few ornaments I remember the name of.
So I reckon you want to just upgrade the Triforce, right? To, what's it called? Like...
Shojin. Shojin's Resolve is what gets picked up by Hatrix. Honestly, in the long run, that might end up being better, actually, just because...
Does it give extra
Shojin...
HP?
Yes.
Because if I think there's like 200 extra HP or something, if that's the case, then I would quite highly, I would value the HP quite highly into the. Never mind, I don't have time to finish before we have a Baron.
Also going for the Baron, and this is simply a: are you paying attention, Rich Gang? The answer seems to be yes, but Sharp is looking for the angle in. Nature's Grass comes forward. Certified is the one caught by it. The fight yet to start truly in earnest, though. Stumpy was in the mid lane. Now will join the play. Chaos. Just a bit of a heads up. They just want to make sure that Rich Gang are paying attention. They are going to be able to get the shove in mid lane right now, but Chaos are quick enough to prevent their mid tier 1 from going down. At the end of the day, it's no big shakes, really.
And this game is on a knife's edge right now. One team will at some point pull the trigger, and the entire game will flip off it. But yeah, I'm actually not sure which one is mathematically better, but I do feel like if the Shojin gives more HP in the upgrade, I might prefer that one just because your main purpose against the Camille is to not be blown up.
Don't die. Yeah. I also just want to point out that third item from Hatrix, the Rapid Fire Cannon. Did you know that Smolder's Q is the same range as his auto, which means you can get bonus range off of Rapid Fire Cannon for his Q?
Well, I wasn't sure, but that's what I was thinking as well, because I do know it's treated as an auto attack.
Yep.
So it's good to get confirmation on that, because that makes it so much easier to walk up to a dangerous threat and just, throw a Q into his face and chunk half their HP.
Yeah, you throw a Q out as well, and if your teammates do enough damage, the burn might just get them beneath that execute threshold.
So at this point, it's just become a vision game. The good thing for Chaos here is that they have the ability to put Ornn into a side lane and have Ornn push out without being in the threat of dying. I feel like if we were in the previous meta where there was more pressure on the Ornn with Divine Sundra, he couldn't be pushed up too far because he would get run down by Stumpy and get killed. But right now he can move into the bot lane, he can push out the wave, and he can then move over to the mid lane and look for a play of his own without having to burn his teleports.
As you say, it's the vision game right now. People going to side lanes, pushing waves, responding to waves. Right now, we're waiting to see if somebody makes that little mistake, which makes them killable. Really, we've got 25 seconds until the next Drake. Hatrix is coming down from the top side, didn't have TP, so needs to get here quickly. You want to participate in the next play. Rich Gang are lurking, though. A Hawk shot will spot it out.
Ooh, and Chaos is making sure that they don't allow Rich Gang to move up to the dragon. They just start the Baron, they just force them into them. Now he's looking for a flank. Well,
he's going to play bodyguard, stand off to the side. Broda does get a large amount of CC drop. The skies will descend. Sumi looking for the flank angle. Stumpy is in the mid lane as well. Arrow lands onto Broda as all of the ultimates come through. Nearest will land some knockouts, but here comes the damage. Surfby dropping low. It will get taken down. Sumi does find the back line. Patrick's will survive, but Nearest is the only one left alongside him as Rich Gang find 4. Can Hatrick survive this? No. Fruity Fresh will float on over and pick up the ace for Rich Gang. Kaus were in the lead, but that's a heck of a turnaround, and Rich Gang will flip the fight, will flip the gold by picking up the Baron.
All right, so let's see what happened there, because this fight looked extremely all over the place. First, there's a massive Aurelion Sol ult chunking everyone down. But keep your eye on Sumi. Sumi is going to move in from the side when the arrow lands. Fortunately for Broda, he gets the flash over the wall and lives. All the ultimates are now burned. Sumi moves in, destroys Reflect in one burst, then moves over to force Hatrix out of the fight. Hatrix can't participate in this fight. He can't damage the front line. He can't damage anyone. He's just kind of sitting back because Sumi has R2. Meanwhile, Fruity Fresh is just flying all over the place, blowing everyone up, and 2 dragons go head to head, and they both die. Cool animation.
You know who won that little trade, however? Sure, Fruity Fresh died, but that is a Rich Gang win. And for the first time this game, they are ahead in gold. Kaus looking to find an angle, though. Broda does have Warrior Trickster available and will use it to get out. Still looking for those engages. Almost all of the cooldowns are back, though. Fruity Fresh looking for the angle and doesn't have the skies descend. The Falling Star is certified. Gets taken down by said Falling Star as Stumpy looking for the backline. Jumps onto Hatrick. Sumi gonna join him, but he gets deleted. The Singularity will get dropped down. Nearwis is the sacrifice.
And once again, it is a 1-5 by Rich Gang. Rich Gang is just at this point out executing Chaos. Chaos can't get the damage down because they're always trying to retreat from Stumpy and Sumi coming in trying to destroy their backline.
Feels to me like the engage is so much easier for Rich Gang to find. Like Greg Red presses Nature's Grasp. Good.
Yeah, for sure. You just layer an Aurelion Sol on top of that, and like half the team is low HP, and then you just go into cleanup duty. You can see it here. You know, the Nature's Grasp comes in. Here comes a massive ultimate again by the Aurelion Sol, and now he just flies in and melts the tanks. Now, tanks aren't a problem for Aurelion Sol. Fortunately for Chaos here, Hatrix and Reflect do stay alive. They kite away against the Ornn, but the objective is lost, and this puts Rich Gang onto Soul Point.
Yep, gold dead even, but the momentum of this game has completely flipped at this point. Rich Gang feeling very, very good about themselves, and Hatrix is still over 3,000 gold up on Sumi. Does it feel like he's 3,000 gold up more effective? I'm really not sure.
The thing is, all Akali needs to one rotation a squishy target is the 2-3 item mark. At that point, everything after that is just access.
Yeah.
You know, it's just utility tools. It's a Zhonya's, it's something like that. Nature's Grasp coming down again.
Shop will block it.
But at this point, all his job is just make sure Hatrix can't play the fight. So if he can just delete Reflect, or preferably Hatrix, that is the point. Stumpy can also do the same thing. He can lock up Hatrix. He's been doing it consistently every single fight. And then you win the front to back, because Fruity is just untouched in every team fight. And he has the Sky's Descent available once again.
4 items completed, one of which is a Banshee's Veil. This Asol is so difficult to get onto.
And if we can take a quick look at the stacks again, I think I saw Aurelion Sol sitting at 430 stacks. Aurelion Sol is just becoming so incredibly powerful. Now, obviously, Hatrix is also sitting on 375. If we could get a quick check at his Q execute range, I think it's like 12% or something. 11%.
Currently.
So once they drop under 11%, they get executed. So that's a massive range. And keep in mind, you know, if a tank is very, very tanky in terms of HP, that percentage means so much more. So he can carry the team fights, but he needs to be able to put in the damage, and he needs to be safe. And it's so difficult against that double assassin composition.
And this is where I start to question the Nidalee pick a little. Like, yes, reflected a lot with it in the early game, but now we're getting later. And in the last couple of fights, he got deleted by Sumi. If we had something beefier, then that might have been the front line that Hatrix and Certified needed to execute on this play. But yeah, time and again, it feels like the front line that Chaos is putting forwards just isn't enough.
And this is exactly why every single time Italy is in the meta, I feel like it is a strong tool. If you can snowball the game and win the game in like 20, 25 minutes, Nidalee can be an incredibly powerful pick. But if you don't end the game within that, well, let's say 30 minutes tops mark, Nidalee kind of becomes a casting minion with potential to burst someone out, but there's going to be beefy boys standing in front of you, so you won't be able to. If you had something that could properly peel hat-tricks here, if you had an Ivern here, if you had a tank here, anything like that, the game would have looked much
Speaking
different.
of, Hat-tricks is looking for Stumpy. The arrow will miss. I think this is an eventual inevitability. The Camille is going to try and get away from this. The TP from Sumi coming out certified gets away from the Nature's Grasp as the push will come in towards the top side. Stumpy able to survive, Sumi keeping them at bay, but now it might be the Akali who finds himself in trouble. No, able to step away as well. The push is dissuaded in the mid lane, certified and Newis just about able to stop that one from coming through, but cross the map. Cows tried to pounce and they were not able to find their prey.
At this point, they just need to make sure they can find Stumpy first. The moment Stumpy dies early in these team fights, it becomes so much easier to team fight from there on out, because then there is no longer the what's called Hextech Ultimatum, I do believe, the ultimate, to keep people in place, to make sure hat-tricks has some more space to move around the fight, because if he can get the damage out, he is super strong. He also has this mixed damage build where he did itemize into Leandris. He has the additional burn. Just like you said in the previous game, how would you like some burn with your burn? Well, this guy has some burn with his burn. And Stumpy, once again, is being run down.
8 seconds until the Baron comes up. You were talking about if this Camille goes down, and the entirety of Chaos, besides Neowis, is here to find it. Fruity, however, coming forwards to try and avenge. Mom drops though. Sharp is going to pick up Fruity, and it may be that Rich Gang have overcommitted to try and save their top laner. That's 3 kills for Chaos, as Neowis now looking to chase down onto Sumi and Brona. This Akali trying to get away with the perfect execution, but there is... and Ornn's just going to walk them away. He's like, okay, guys, we'll see you later. Thanks for the Baron.
And Chaos has to be careful now. They can't just give up the soul. The soul is going to Red Gang right now. Ornn is going to try and move in, but I'm not sure if that's enough. I actually will not blind this straight.
Hat-tricks is looking for a TP ward, I think. The Baron, however, oh my god, Lewis! He manages to get it with the Sunfire burn. Grona unable to get out. Hat-tricks picks up another one. And that's the sort of mistake you cannot be making, as the soul is denied from Rich Gang by the Ornn, the perfect goalkeeper in this game.
You know, I was sure that that dragon at the very least was going to go to Rich Gang. They have so much more burst with the Akali E right there to finish the kill, but they couldn't secure it. And now the Baron is going there. The Drake is going there. The game has swung back around once again.
It has come back round to Chaos as another ornament gets completed. The base has already been opened from the side of Rich Gang. Middle inhibitor turret has dropped. The last piece of standing gold outside of the base, that bot tier 2, seems to be in Chaos' sights right now. And with a Baron-empowered team, no soul on Rich Gang, Chaos might just have turned the corner to take this game back in their hands.
Yeah, the only saving grace is that right now Rich Gang does have the Aurelion Soul E. So if Aurelion Soul can just put the E down there...
Horn. Down comes the turret. Skies will descend, however. Broda is looking for the background. Hadrix going low, but Sumi unable to finish the kill right now. Stumpy, however, will commit, will find him. And Chaos are split up, are spread out, and are taken down by Rich Gang once again. Baron, Dragon, who gives a damn?
Is that game? Wait, I think this might be the game. They have a wave in mid lane. They have Stumpy teleporting in. They can move for the end right here. I think this game is over.
3 towers and an inhibitor that needs to be taken down. The TP coming in, but it's 20 seconds at least until Certified is up. Rich Gang, as you say, might just have done it, EK. They are breaking into the base. The inhibitor will drop. And it looks like Rich Gang, they hold off after a tough early game. The pressure from the Nidalee was so good from Chaos, but it turns out the Elder Dragon, the Star Forger, is the better one in this game.
Oh man. What a game. What a game. I almost have no words for what I just witnessed. That was a beautiful game of League of Legends where, well, I mean, it was more like dodgeball where they were like, I'm throwing the ball to you, you're throwing the ball to me, and we're gonna keep throwing and see
Well,
who
you know
catches
what?
best.
That's a fantastic analogy. Honestly, I love that. The ball, the ball of who had, you know, who had control of the game. It got flipped back and forth about 5 times before we eventually find ourselves at the end of the game. Rich Gang take their win. They will go up to 6-2.
Yeah,
Could challenge.
that
Remember,
final
they
team
still got a
fight.
game in hand.
In that
Yeah.
final team fight, I was just looking at the Smolder trying to kite back, trying to survive. But you can see how much damage he dealt. 53,000 damage on top of the entire game by a large margin. The rest of his team didn't really do that much damage. He was pumping hard, but unfortunately for him, the enemy team was fully aware of that, and there was a Camille and an Akali just gunning for him every single fight. That last fight, he almost kited back, but his team kind of ignored him. He died, and unfortunately, the execution there cost them the game.
And if you look at this Rich Gang comp, yes, Hatrix did so much work, did so much damage, but this composition is designed to make Smolder's life hell. You have to position so well, otherwise Stumpy Cobes over a wall, locks you in a Hextech ultimatum, you die. You get hit by a Nature's Grasp, you die. You get hit by a Sky's Descend, you die. You get hit by a Shuriken Flip, guess what? You die.
Yeah, I feel like you have to treat Smolder in a similar way you used to treat something like a Kog'Maw back in the day. You have an immobile hyper carry, deals
Protect the pup.
yeah, exactly. You deal a ridiculous amount of damage, can totally take over a game, looks completely busted when protected well, but that's the gimmick. If you don't protect him well, you blow him up. He's nothing. So I feel like you have to treat Smolder the same way, and I love that they drafted a composition where they were like, hey, you take Smolder, we just draft so much dive onto you that you won't even be able to deal damage. He still does 53k damage, but that could have been so much more if he was able to freely hit throughout the entire fight.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for myself and EK, though, but those were some great games, though, to cast back on. We will throw it to a break in a moment, but when we come back, you'll be greeted by the beautiful faces of Temporal and Dog Sledder, who will bring you through the remaining 2 games. We've got Fourth Wall versus Ruse up next, and then that will be followed by 42 versus Blue White. Plenty more Division 2 action to come. We'll see you in a bit.
And welcome back to the NLC second division, where we're taking over Temporal, the Nash cousins, as to say.
It's the Nash's time. Get out of here, other casters. Brackish Brits, EKs. I don't know what an EK is, but here, it's time for some banger games from a banger family name.
Absolutely, and we're excited, of course. We got some great ones. Fourth Wall versus Russo at a Ruse at the start. I mean, we got some top level games, and we're here for it.
Yeah, last time I saw Fourth Wall, and bear in mind, I try and keep up with the NLC too, but there's only so many hours I can keep my eyes open a day, and currently I'm not getting enough of those. I wasn't super impressed. It was their first game up against Rich Gang, and Rich Gang, pretty good team. Just seen them in a comeback victory over a Smolder that nearly took them by surprise, and it was pretty dominating. I was like, oh, Rich Gang go great. I look back now over the statistics, and this is a Fourth Wall at 7 wins and 1 loss. That one loss, that there was a little bit of a blunder them getting started. They've had a fantastic season so far. They've had an incredible season. Their wins look dominating. Their drafts look relatively cohesive for a second division team. They look like they've got it together, dogs. It's very
and of course they come in as favorites now. Like they've earned that stamp on their passport. But Roos, I mean, they've not been in the slumps themselves. They've been showing up this season.
Yeah, they're more middle of the pack, but they've had some decent shots. I think the thing I'm worried about from Roos's side, if you would correct me in my pronunciation there, I'm not sure they're Norwegian, but I'm going to trust you more than I trust me. They tend to win versus lower teams on the standing than them. They tend to lose versus teams higher in the standing than them. This just means they're probably a bit linear. And we're probably going to see them have a bit of an uphill struggle here today against a demanding, controlling Fourth Wall side.
Yeah, it's usually a bad matchup, and you see other teams, and I feel like putting in Chaos and Rich Gang is an example of volatile teams can make the most incredible things happen.
My favorite thing in the standing is like lost to last place somehow because like Ad Superstar Carry was on holiday and has won against top 3 but ends up in 5th. That's like my favorite Swiss standing.
It's to be a little confused about, but yeah, of course, it's also going to be fun to see these teams on the newest patch. I mean, there's a lot to digest, and we got to see just a little bit of it in the previous games. Smolder, hot,
pretty good, good champion. Turns out if you design Cogmore in 2024, he's all right. He's all right. Little bit of a stacking mini game. Little bit of just fantastic scaling options, and then a Doran's Ring in the early game to smooth out what would otherwise be a designed rough patch.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, lots of other buffs too. We're gonna see some exciting things. I think we're seeing a little bit of a swing in the meta, and it's gonna be interesting to see how these teams adapt in the draft phase.
All right, we got some draft stories. We're going to let the teams lead us in here. Fourth Wall's biggest theme, the thing I saw as I looked down their drafts, they tend to ban non-interaction. I've hit Karma, Seraphine, Senna, Ash, and Brand on my notes. They do tend to take the Varus off the table. That's gone as well. They want to engage from support, so we'll see how else they line that up. The Callista, they dropped that in their last 2 games. They're picking it up again. They're not going to allow anyone to interfere with their bot lane smooth curve out when the rest of the team comes to support them.
I mean, that's some solid prep from Temporal. I mean, the Callista out off the board again. But yeah, we see Roos also taking away that Aphelios, and there's no big surprise that they really want to make that bot lane happen.
It has been lots of sort of Aphelios Varus for Fourth Wall. If it's not banned away, they want this sort of overwhelm AD carry that will get them where they're going. With Smolder coming through, wouldn't be surprised if they go to that. There's potentially some engage on support, 14.2. The highest win rate was Maokai. And if you're going to take Senna into it, that's a bit of a trade you might not win out on. There's something that can follow up on the engage. Ezreal has been particularly strong in the patch and runs over Senna lanes.
Absolutely, and they give away a lot of info if they go for this Senna. I mean, the Maokai is just more general in a way. We do have a couple of hovers here that I doubt the first one at least. Katarina, I mean, yeah, I guess the Maokai wouldn't exactly be fit, but here they go right for the Talia.
Talia's done some work down in the UKEL, 4 Nations. Shout out to the leagues underneath the NLC Division 2 that feed in. we've had a pretty good showing of it. It's going to struggle to reach something like the Jinx, so fourth wall staying away, staying safe, if they can, from the pick potential that Talia conveys. We're unlikely to see a return to Skarner. A Hui would be a great pickup. Both of these teams love Hui if they can get their hands on it. That long range mage with so much utility and a whole bunch of damage to boot.
I mean, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that champ. One thing is watching it, different thing is to cast it, but yeah, there's just so much to.
With the Azir gone, we're down to like other control mages. Hui has a great time because he can go that artillery mode. Nefiri on the all-in. Rosa,
okay,
definitely going all out for this now. That is a difficult 2v2 to execute. They're going to be looking to ban away safe jungles now from fourth wall. Anything that's melee, anything that can lose in a 2v2 while it's trying to support a lane, while it's trying to contest a push, will be the angle by which Ruse have to play this mid game out. A Braum is okay. I'd like to see them get rid of stuff like the Nidalee we saw last game. Non-committal junglers, the Smolder would have been a risk, but fourth wall, having picked Marksman and AD, will remove that themselves.
And they have it.
There he is. There he goes. He's on the patch.
Oh my
God. Go say hi to mom for me.
Oh, so sad, so sad. But yeah, you really can't look away from the performance of Warrior in the jungle of Wallace this season. So I'm almost a little surprised we don't see any jungle bans, but maybe that just imparts that they think this Maokai is heading there, but
it could do. I'd argue that's nearly certainly going for support.
Yeah, I would think so too. But,
it gives so much value into the center as long as it stays off the wave, so that auto Q, auto into it doesn't push. Milio to set up a farming center perhaps, which I've seen, but by gosh, it's fragile even in solo queue, and in competitive, I think the way would eat it for breakfast as soon as lane assignments change slightly. Bruiser here. I think we've got to take something blind. I want to see that bot lane completed. And Nautilus is a great setup for Maokai. That's a bit of a concession.
It is, and I was about to say, they're going to go hard on the engage here, fourth wall, with this Milio ban.
Even harder.
They're indicating that they're going to have so much forward potential. They want to go hard, and they don't want to be stopped. You might even see something. I mean, you're going to see more engage here. I'm almost completely sure.
If this goes to top lane and that's a Maokai jungle, there is a potential full losing 2v2 on mid, where unless the Hui gets ahead by other means around objectives, okay, fourth wall will now struggle to contest a mid 2v2. If they decide to move first on a play there to translate to an objective, they will struggle. Nefiri and Talia eat Maokai for breakfast. That's going to be absolutely dangerous. Shen is Sir Victor's one-trick pony in the top lane, though, so we'll be excited to see a little bit of teammate assistance. The Aatrox would have been decent here. Ilaoi, a risky pick. I'm pretty big on both these champions. These are some of my mains. If I can get a hold of them in solo queue. Ilaoi's tentacles got buffed back up. She's a really strong champion right now, but she doesn't really work with the rest of this setup. If the Talia pops up for her, sure, she'll execute. But there's a lot of conditions. The Nefiri also wants to be flanking, maybe side laning later on. Farming Senna has a weird time where it kind of wants to push mid out and be at every objective, but it's not strong enough when something like the Hui brings Thunder down on its head, and then Nautilus is stuck for an engage. We'll see if Ruza are going to win this. That Ilaoi or the Nefiri are going to get ahead with a little Talia setup, and then Nautilus shadowing them to force some otherwise undoable engages. Fourth wall have a more neutral comp. If Hui sets up for Jinx, that is a nasty combination.
Absolutely, and I mean the ease of execution here is quite clear in favor of fourth wall.
As long as you remember which ability of Hui's is with.
Exactly, but if we were talking about let's call it the rock paper scissors of Ruse earlier.
Sorry, Elise is dropping in on me at the moment, and thanks England. Carry on.
I mean, I kind of like that I see Ruse going for a little bit of a more extraordinary strategy, a little
don't
less
take it lying down.
Exactly.
Don't take it lying down. If you're up against a team that's going to be a struggle, it's spice time. Does it make any sense? Doesn't have to. Just has to taste good. That's the important piece.
And the snowball potential here, obvious. It's just going to be hard to set up for it, and you're in danger of even
plus like the ego. If fourth wall are like, look at us, we're fourth wall, I'll engage here. Like I'm going to jam the Maokai because I'm a better player. Turns out that does not change the statistics of the champion, and Tilly a very good trap for an overambitious engage.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's a lot of dodges to get through. When you have 3 melee champs, they might run up and try to deal with an Ilaoi and cause a highlight play. You know, there's so much potential in terms of the counters. Let's call it that. Let's be a little bit
I'm excited.
We're up for this ruse. And we'll see if it's a proper one as we're heading into game. Let's see if there's no stopping the fourth wall train, or if ruse are going to keep up and overtake them. And we're in the game.
Uphill battle for Roos. I think it's fair to say Namex might have to teach me a thing or two about this farming setup. I think it's fair to say the Swedish AD carry is a bit of a legend in the scene at this stage. And while First Blood might go over to Toxie, a little bit of some damage there. No doubt going to start stacking up his mana flow band. I think if anyone was going to surprise me and turn around a bot lane that I don't think makes any sense, it's going to be a veteran AD carry like Namex.
No early shenanigans. Taking a quick look all around on the abilities. I always get surprised when I see Comet on Nathiri, but then I'm like, oh yeah, of course.
Yep.
But it's kind of counterintuitive until you think about it.
A little bit. I also think against range matchups, you're normally just going for Q1. Q2 does the burn and bleed straight away. But I don't think it's necessary, and just allowing yourself to move off the wave and then use the second Q on the minions has gone reasonably well for me in mid on the champion. Something I do want to see, and maybe production can give me a hand here as we see the dogs start to chew through the mid wave. I wonder if Turtle's leveled a skill yet. Has the Ilaoi leveled a skill against the Shen? Shen's got Q. W, lovely from Turtle. So he might lose the push if Sir Victor goes to Q the first minion. Turtle will be able to 1v1 this before the second wave comes in. He should probably get started as soon as his grass prop gets up. He's going to just go for the creeps instead. That W at level 1, so much damage. You can fight inside the wave and out damage an enemy carry. It's a great setup, and it's really important where many people who would just flex Nalawi would still take Q, while they might push the wave. They end up in a really rubbish situation near their opponent's tap.
Yeah, Ilaoi usually, she struggles in a lot of matchups before level 3. For obvious reasons.
Oh yeah, as soon as you get clone mode, you're a new champion.
You are, absolutely, but you can play around the little minigame. You're not just a minigame yourself. You can play around the Shen Q. But level 2 is where it's difficult for Turtle, and you see it. Sir Victor instantly punishing just that little bit with the EQ combo. Gotta have that E Turtle before he really gets to exist. But long tentacles.
Has a decent setup with a tentacle by his tower, so I'm not too worried. Though I don't think Sir Victor taking anyone by surprise. The Shen main. Don't know if we got like a decent taunt to interrupt a W all in, but the Ilaoi should really be enjoying that wave. We'll see how that pans out. There's no pressure. It is top lane after all, and even though I'm excited because this is like a me versus me matchup, I always love watching those. When you got your two favorite champions like stand against each other, it's not the biggest output on the game.
It isn't going to be, but then again, both of them have different kinds of impacts onto the map.
Oh yeah.
And Turtle will most likely, I think, in this game try to split up a lot. Let's see this robe slow hit from Pipey. Flash forward from Paybox. He's going to stun him down. After here comes Warrior, and that's just so easy. Kills got onto the support, but that is just a clean fight from Fourth Wall.
A little bit of push allows Fourth Wall's bot lane to get up through the river. Warrior arriving for a 4 versus 2. Flammy just a little too confident stepping into river there. Well spotted out and completed. Fourth Wall take first blood.
Oh, it's that hook, Grisen. Gonna do so much damage on Pipey. Ignite ticking. Still has flash available, but Fabiox does not. He went for the engage. They managed to peel off enough, but that is control regained for the Ruse bot lane.
Huge shout out there. As we do see Sir Victor going. Oh, that's a decent trade. The W as well.
Tentacle though.
He'll suffer some tower damage.
Oh, so look at the heal though. Here comes Flimsy. Yeah, this is gonna be a kill. I think no way out for Sir Victor. Flash attempt, but maybe Warrior helping out. Dodges that. W hits from Turtle with the flash, and yeah, Warrior doesn't even get the chance to help out.
Yeah, I think his only chance would have been flash queuing back in over, and then he does consign himself to death. tries to extend the play. Warrior doesn't quite make it in time. Fourth wall extended with that 4-person play near mid. They've been punished in bot lane with that clutch hook from Grease and the lollipop around the outside. And while it only gets summoner spells, while it only buys position, it does mean that gold now swings back in Ruse's favor. It's the early game, both teams giving it everything they've got.
They also they kind of need that they need that momentum, Ruse, but Neferi deceptively strong in the late game. Senna, of course, going to scale forever, though she is going farm, so she's going to be a little slower on the stacks.
I didn't know Talia could do this. She's just going to stand there and smite the first one.
Yeah, that's news to me. Picks it up, no info given. Warrior's going to step in and see.
He's going to be so confused. Where's it gone, huh?
Missing thing.
I'm not sure about this, Leaves. Very, very rational response. Yeah, and I don't mind Warrior backing off there. He's going to assume that Flammy's left some vision on his exit. That's completely fine. Decent way to move out. And first and second dragon traded for both sets of grubs does have a positive win rate for the dragon in solo queue. I expect that to just be like a raw strength thing and oppression around Dragon Soul, which has fallen off with everyone getting excited about the grubs, but still seems to be a bit stronger. Forcing your opponent to come to you, even if they're a bit faster on infrastructure, seems to still be advantageous.
Absolutely, and yeah, Namex, look at the CS difference in the bot lane. Not much has happened. We had that one 2v2 that turned out advantageous, but they're doing well. Still has all their summoners up. Oh, another hook hits. Flammy is nearby, but I don't think she's going to be in range to really have the follow-up.
Yeah, worth a go, worth a go. I think Ivok, yep, he's going to have push on mid, so if this becomes a 4v4, we'll move first. Sir Victor still holding on to Stan United. I think both teams likely to commit heavy to this. Warriors lurking nearby, would be spotted if he comes through.
Turtles on the room. Only vision. I think I want to check out if there was a trade for the grubs, but here comes the contest. 4v4 ultimate available from Servicta, teleport not from Turtle, so this is a 5v4 in essence. Who gets the smite off at first? It's not going to be that first priority. They get to Drake here with Ruse, but how is the fight going to go? The follow-up from fourth wall is good, but they've not taken anyone down just yet. Grison goes down. That means excited Jinx incoming. Namex flashes, gets a blast cone, and it's a kill for... we're not done just yet. No, they're backing off. A Drake for a kill. And some alone time top lane from Turtle. I think Ruse are not unhappy with it.
Absolutely not. Fourth wall, you're sweating a little bit now. You traded off those Kevins, the Robert Timer, to get down to the dragon. And instead, even though Warrior has the superior position, watch the stone come across there. That last hit combines with the smite, takes Warrior by surprise. And his position in front of the dragon, not in front of his team, delays Fourth Wall's revenge play. While they still get Grizzin, this is not the result they were looking for. This is not what you commit 4 people to Dragon for. Despite the Maokai coming over slightly late, Ruse get away with the heist.
I gotta commend the Evok's tenacity in that fight, having the Hui ult on him and just having a complete peaceful mind, serenity, not running it into his own team.
I am
he was
golden.
completely
I
out
am
of
in insane pain, but I'm okay.
Exactly. I mean, every player wants to go away from the opponents there. Okay, let's follow a little bit top lane here. But yeah, he managed to keep his calm. Dodges, hits the E turtle. Heals up so much with the buffed healing on the tentacles. Laois is so strong.
I wouldn't mind seeing first item Black Cleaver out of Turtle. It's not quite as strong as it used to be, but it still allows you to chew through Shen a little bit quicker. And it really is about when you're into tanks like Shen who do something away from you, making them sweat as much as possible in lane, even if you're not killing them time and time again. And Black Cleaver does allow you to potentially get there. It's about stopping the easy Stan Unite. You know, if you arrive on 200 health, are you saving someone or are you just changing who's giving over 300 gold?
Exactly, and you also might have Warrior show up, and the Black Cleaver will make, I mean, pretty much any 1v2 advantageous for the Laui. The thing to think about though is Turtle is expecting Servicta to play away from the lane when possible with ultimate, and if you go for that hull breaker, you might just punish that much more through the pushing power that you gain through that item. Oh, flash forward from Grisen. This is a really good engage. I don't know how they're going to get out. Teleport coming from the way, but is it enough time? They get onto Pipey. He flashes out, but Namex's snipe is there. Firebox is going to fall too, and it's a 2-for-1, and it's a teleport committed even. And now they're just going to continue. Grisen catches him with the hook. Warriors coming in with his ultimate. Roots down 2 of them, but Namex is untouched for now. Tries to heal up his support, but they manage to get 1 back, 4th wall. But still, good fight from Ruse, who are just... playing this game really well.
Yeah, they get the first kill. I think only Nerves prevents them from going back in onto Toxie and Warrior, and they just about get the Nautilus in trade. So Victor is starting to suffer the allowing mid-game.
E-flash! Can he get Turtle? Flash out, W back in. Oh, not a kill.
The second one, not quite, not quite. No third setup from Turtle, having to commit flash there. Oh my. 4th wall. Caught out a little bit by surprise. That Hex Flash from Grisen. Really strong. I think the center I critiqued earlier, keeping up so far. We'll see if it continues to scale. We'll get less souls than a non-farming center. Let's keep our eyes on whether they enter sort of a non-farming strategy to sort of accelerate her, maybe after 1 item.
If Grisen continues to have this kind of range finding and accuracy, I don't know what 4th wall are going to do. He's just been a man on a mission, catching out player after player, and I don't know if it's missed the hook this game. It just seems like every time we look at him, he's doing something right.
Lammy also had a great setup worth mentioning in that bot lane. The ult got Pipey really stuck in a bind and allowed them to play that one out. And then only the hesitation, I think, of getting close enough to Warrior prevented Ruse from going forwards. The Hex Flash this time from Fabiox. Just come forwards. Warrior gonna leave. We look across the map right now. We will have Dragon spawning soon. This is just about the last timer, so we can walk straight back down there or cross map over towards the Rift Herald. I should say respawning grubs.
Spear of Shot in top on Turtle. Lauer goes for that scaling damage, increase use of abilities. I mean, the cooldowns will be important. Ooh, misses that E. It might be a little dangerous, but no secondary taunt available.
I'm gonna have to try Shojin first later. You know, I don't think I'm confident enough to just jam an item that's raw damage.
I think the thought behind it is just the fact that a lot of it is going to get negated by Shen's W, and the fact that you get it back quicker, just through the autos, might just enable more fights for the Lauer, better fights. Warrior hovering around the mid lane, doesn't hit that CC Toxie, but Warrior's being so patient. Here comes Evok. He stepped too close. He has flash available. But yeah, no, he's getting caught out. Teleport to help out. 1 tower shot hits Warrior. He might not have the damage to do this. Here comes Turtle, misses the E, but Warrior is coming up. Here's Sir Victor's ultimate. Flash out from Eva, keeps him alive, but that means they're 2v3 fight. Turtle getting so much damage off though. He's still so high on HP. It's this E, still ultimate available. Here comes the flag from the bot lane. Just so many members have lined in. Turtle, there's the ultimate. We'll see in the backside now. Nemex doing so much damage. Turtle taking down Pipey. And it looks like Ruse, in the end, despite having such low health bars, are just chasing down member after member. I cannot believe how tanky Turtle seemed in that fight.
An absolute unit from the top side. 4th wall there, I think, played that excellently. They had a fantastic position on the engage. A little overextension, maybe not respecting the farming Senna, who's come through and like an absolute tornado tears apart this fight. Look at this. They get onto Evok. They don't overextend. They don't show too early. They pull him back in for a decent setup. That's a teleport in. So Victor also going to hit the Stand Unite here onto Warrior to prevent the slightly squishy Maokai from going down. Extends the position. Almost gets Evok with the Super Mega Death Rocket. In the meantime, Ruse's jungler has ulted in. Their bot lane arrives technically first in that Grisen is there, and Namex strikes multiple members from far away, keeps Turtle alive, and denies 4th wall their prize, and they pay for it dearly with their bot lane's lives.
The margins are microscopic, but you see what a couple of big ults can do in terms of helping out your team. Namex ult, huge in shielding his team, and yeah, as you mentioned, the Qs were also spectacular in terms of value. Now, Ruse, they want to keep this snowball going. It's only 2k. It feels like it could have been more, but the Drake win con alongside this Ocean Soul potential, that's pretty great.
Yeah, can't argue with it at all. And when you've got short range positions that need to be held, like Neferi, like Alawi, like the Talia once it gets a bit scrappy and you get those threaded volleys through. I think Ocean Soul has huge value here. Extends you into further heals from Namex. As long as you're getting that value in combat, that's a real efficiency boost.
Absolutely. And now we're going to see the game slow down a little bit. Spectator pointed out the Void Grub distribution. It's quite even. No one got that 5th magic number.
Yeah,
Right now, it doesn't really
no
seem
little
like
guys
it.
this game. Sad, but true.
Like just by Flammy doing that play and picking up one of them, it kind of
Yeah.
took away the initiative. It took away the feeling of wanting to get it for Fort Wall. It didn't have the same value. You had to take 2 first, and then you had to commit for another one.
I want
And
to
it-
praise Ruze's position here. If we look across the map, as Victor no doubt will tickle Turtle just a little bit, but not much more. If you go left to right, some of it's just faded away. But they had control both sides of the river all the way up to Turtle's position in top and at the entrance that Hui would be able to move down from. They had such fantastic control there for a minute. They could be so comfortable in a rotation.
Now, can I get Turtle? They've done so much on him, but Turtle is healing up so much too. Flashes after Victor. The tentacle hits! He misses, but I don't think Toxie has the damage. Maybe Turtle's so low. Flash not available from the Hui, but gets to speed himself up with his ability. He doesn't hit the root. And now just 1 Q is what he needed. Last little bit of damage, and Turtle finally goes down. Let's see what happens
TP
on the
from
other side of the
Evok
map.
to top lane. He's going to extend.
Oh, yeah, he wants this kill. So few tools available from Toxie, low on the mana, and I don't think there's any way out of it. In the meantime, the rest of his team is pushing bot lane. Evok picks up the kill and refreshes the hunt.
He's got that dog in him, jumps after top lane, makes sure that Ruza continued to get a lead out of that play. I think even by drawing Toxie to mid and sacrificing the wave, drawing Toxie away from mid, letting the wave go over to Evok, they were advantaged in that play likely anyway. I don't think this Alawi is going to care who comes to a side lane now, and a 2v1 comes out even. I'm going to see that time and time again. Turtle is dealing a huge amount of damage right now. It's going to get harder for Sir Victor. He's got the heart steal through, which will allow him to become bigger presence. But until he's like a Titanic Hydra, and maybe something else, sort of damage oriented himself, it's going to be a struggle. This is on the bot lane, while we saw Toxie with the revenge playing top. Flammy and Greason help Namex in shoving off this tower. Some infrastructure over to Ruza.
Mid lane, MX getting caught out. That cleanse is so quick. Flash out, keeps him safe. Here comes the reinforcement. The Grease is stuck on the other side of the wall. So Flammy drops it. The damage and healing coming from behind means he keeps himself alive. Here is the dog, and Victor might just go down. Ultimate is great from the Senna again. And now the health bars of 4th wall. This is not a fight you want to stay for, but they do step up, and they pay the price in the shape of their support.
2-0 once again. Ruza in a 4 versus 5 have this fantastic position where 4th wall are taking good play. They're being proactive, but they end up over Flammy's stones. They are punished for their ego. They are punished for not securing a lead already. And at 5,000 gold, I think it's fair to say Ruza are in a comfortable lead right now. Huge boon for them in the mid game, where I suspected, Toxie would be starting to get comfortable right now. If we look down the scoreboard, 3-1, you think, yeah, the way he's getting where he's going. But they can't play through a fight over the Senna, over the Neferi. It's too much at this stage.
It is, and even when it comes for these fights, you see the battle plan of Bruce coming through. Turtle getting so much in the side lanes. 3 turrets down already. Gonna try to charge this Herald through mid, but this looks a little bit risky. Yeah, he has to crash into the wall, and he's gonna get caught out by the E. It's not gonna kill the support, but it's just heading up for another good push from Bruce. Tentacles are hitting so much. Pipey and Toxie taking damage from the support's tentacles. Like, this sets up for a Drake. I don't know how 4th wall will engage.
Difficult position.
They're gonna try. Namex getting so much damage onto him. That is huge. Ultimate is good from the Allow, but is it enough to make up for the lack of an AD carry? He's healing, he's doing damage. He's just barely alive, but the Jinx gets another one. Excited. Gets a slow on to Talia, so they're gonna try to charge on the side, but Warrior gets caught out by Greason. There's not enough damage to kill him, but they are gonna lose maybe their top laner or the dog in return. Pipe is so low. But he just keeps on hitting. How does he do it? And they win out in the end, Rusey. But that was a lot more hard fought than some of the other fights recently.
What is it with NLC2 supports tonight? And Nautilus is executing with lollipop hooks. Greason finishes off another, and Ruse through a difficult fight where they lost Namex. You're right, the cleanses have been fast, but when it's on cooldown, a little overextension, a little overconfidence costs. Ruse, they're able to play through. Excellent work from their support. Excellent work from Turtle. Holds on at low health. The dragon's going low, but Fabiox is here.
Okay, this is an attempt. Let's see if we can do it. No, it does not get the Drake, but the follow-up might be sufficient. Not enough damage to take him down, so they're gonna get Greason teleporting from Turtle. Does not get taunted. He just has to run away. And now Flammy might be in a little bit of a pickle too. No, they can't chase him down, but I'm almost surprised that had merit. But Fabiox, he knew what he was doing. Way better than me.
There was stones under the blast plant, else it would have worked. Okay, this is Namex going down. So with the Hwei sniper from far away, none of his effects are targeted specifically, so they do get through the hallowed mist. Turtle goes really low, continues to heal, eventually falls. That was a rocket from Jinx. Pipey really wants to go in right now, but his front line is so low. Victor's the only thing that's left, and Evoc was looking for an angle. The dogs just nearly rip forth towards AD carry. We see the stones just short from Talia. Even though Victor eventually falls, it's on Greason to get Warrior out of this fight. Look at him go.
What a beauty. And it's the last little bit of mana too. You know, that was all or nothing for Greason. And it's still a great lead from Ruse. They have the third Drake. Soul in 4 minutes means they have so much to play for. Barons has spawned. And there's just way too much for fourth wall to keep track of at the moment. Especially with having a disadvantage in gold. And having situations where they have to take better fights than their opponent to win out.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say they do have to take better fights. They're still scaling excellently. You know, Jinx Hwei is absolutely monstrous later in the game. But they can't get their front line over Ruse's setup. They can't get them over the Talia. They can't get them into Namex. Even though Turtle's going to continue to push here, I think Savictor's probably going to be fine. Ooh, that was a necessary flash. Never mind, the fight has begun.
And let's see how it goes on the other side. They get the Talia, so this is a good fight for now. Flank from Evoc. Namex gets onto Fabiox, and now they just got to run away for wall. They're going to try to fight back, but double kill for the Senna. Blastcon helps Toxie out, but this is a setup. Oh, ults forward. Evoc is going to get Warrior 2 maybe, but is tank enough to maybe steal alive, keeps himself alive. Yeah, knockback is really good. The dogs are helping out. W's, heals, knocks away. He has that movement speed. Tries to flash out. Might be a killer return. No! Evoc!
Potion. He's ticking the potion right now. He's got a huge smile on his face. Ruse with the fight on 2 fronts managed to win out. As soon as Evoc's flank is responded to, Namex has so much freedom in that front line. There are not enough cooldowns to kill the center outright and to prevent the assassins coming around the side, despite Sir Victor being on the Shen, despite Warrior, the superstar jungler we've seen this split, who's really shown up after that first game. It's not enough to keep fourth wall alive.
And yeah, it's just such a difficult situation and a task for fourth wall to really figure out how are we going to play the map? How are we going to play the fights? Because there's so much uncertainty, so many factors to keep track of. And yeah, maybe you get one at the start like they got Flammy before that, but then you got to deal with Namex with the long range. Then you got to deal with the flank, high damage from Ivok, and yeah, they're struggling. They can't manage.
A difficult question. Taking out Shen before that fight and still falling down to the flank. Difficult. Ruse, they have the ability to play this multiple ways. If they go straight up and they just have a single flank, they will find a way in. Toxie
hungry for blood again, but the disengage is good from Toxie. That's a lot of damage back. He's going for it. So Victor's joined in, so now they're a 2v1 situation. Ivok runs for his life, gets that little dash away, but next E is going to be huge from Victor, and I think unless this dodge is spectacular, they might lose their mid laner. Did I talk too soon? How is he still alive? The artillery shot down. Of course, they're losing on the other side of the map, but they needed something, and they got it.
Cross-map trade, a difficult position. Evoc going down is great, but I don't think the gold is what's holding Toxie back at this stage. He has to be able to be supported in his position. With the Crypt Bloom coming through now, any kill might allow someone in the sort of kill zone in front of Ruse to survive a little bit longer. Not quite a Namex of their own Warrior here. Gonna take some
into the dredge line, and then he's down, he's out,
goodness.
and now Ruse, they're gonna chase on. Maybe might not have the movement speed, but Griesen, you know what he can do. Oh, that's the first miss I've seen, probably, but I mean,
Blamey, that was incredible.
Goosebumps.
Back into Griesen's hook. I'm in awe. I can see you're in awe, Dog Sledder. That was magical ruse there. They lose someone on the side lane, and to guide their super minions to the Nexus Tower, they pick out Fourth Wall's warrior, eviscerated in the mid lane.
Committing on to the Illaoi. Turtle hits the ultimate, so he's going to try to heal as much as possible. Toxic doing a lot of damage, but he got Servicta. He's still alive. That might be his doom, but still, the healing is great. Onto Toxic. Oh, he does not get the kill, but the entire point is Turtle is committing towards the top side to make sure his team can get the soul on the opposite one. And now it's just such a comfortable position for Roos. The Baron is sitting there as a clear target. And for now, Fourth Wall are getting small niblets of food back, but it's not going to make up for a meal.
It's horrible. They commit how many ultimates? Hui, Jinx, Leona, there's a Stan United that's long cooldown. And in a 3v1, they go 1-for-1.
Yeah.
It's got to be such a bitter prize. And in
Illaoi
the meantime, they position mid out, they get the dragon, they get wards in. If we look across the top side, the approach on this Baron is going to be so hard for Fourth Wall when this minion wave marches forwards. That's complete vision coverage. These blue wards on the screen not going to last very long. And Fourth Wall's approach onto this objective is going to have to be Warrior right-clicking through the fog of war and crossing his fingers.
Level 16 on Toxi is a great level up. He steps into the lane just to get a little bit of XP, and that is so important. Here comes the engage from Griesen. The wall from Talia is not gonna get Toxi, but they're gonna zone off a warrior. He's very tanky. A lot of follow-up damage. For now, Fourth Wall have an opportunity. Namex coming on the flank, but it's a one kill for the blue team. 1-for-1 now, and now it looks like maybe Namex might be the damage needed as they get another one on to warrior. They pick up the support. That looked so good from Fourth Wall.
In the base.
And they still lost out. And here, let's look at the Illaoi.
These Toxies get away, so Victor already too low to act.
This might be a kill. This might be a kill. Turtle is on the pro. W hits. Goes to the Victor. Hits the Q. Flashes out from the Shen. But that is just the doom of his team. As it's been domination from Roos. They have taken a drop of blood from the almost unstoppable Fourth Wall team and taking a great step up on the standing. Well, you got an inhibitor stopping the hype train, but I don't think that changes much. Might change something. It might not just yet.
Short their mid laner. They have respawned. They will get one more chance to defend
I'm never
themselves.
forgiving that inhibitor. I'm never forgiving it. that is so rude. And now Fourth Wall still in the game. Technically, they have so much they gotta do right before they can see the game turn. They have not taken a single turret of Ruse even. They're all standing.
You know, first few minutes we had that kill on Flammy in mid, and I was like, Fourth Wall, you're executing the plan. You know, we're gonna pick out someone who's a little too excited, a little too eager to try and get into these scraps of advantage.
All or nothing onto Baron, flank from Griesen. Who is he gonna put his mark on? Now they're a little too spread here, maybe Ruse, but they have a plan. The hook misses. Warrior goes onto Namex, who has to struggle a little bit. Oh, hits that rocket. The AD carry is down. Let's see if Fourth Wall can finally do it. But in the base, Ewok, let's go in. And there we go. They don't get to have that fight, Fourth Wall. They got a little bit of a fake sense of security before Ruse are just immaculate in their cynicism, and they take down the Nexus and end the game.
Wow. That was stylish. Well done, Ruse. You've beat, from what I can tell, the first team above you in the standings this split. And what a way to do it. On comfort, Namex looking so strong that he draws the team in like a magnet. Despite Toxi getting so far ahead on the way, despite that last fight that was almost contested, being like a healing setup where the Hui adapted, where Fourth Wall are trying all these different things that they do as a really good team, and it's not enough. Ruse today, they had the answer. They had the comfort. Well done, guys. You've earned it.
so well earned, and I'm so happy for them. And kind of sad. for
I'm
Force
still
Wall, like,
smiling. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you
you
tell me
cursed them
farming Senna and Neferi is the choice. I'm like, yeah, okay, buddy.
Sure.
It's true. It's the way.
Yeah, well, a great win, and a banger of a game. I mean, came in as the underdogs. Always excited to see such teams takes the win, especially when we're
Very much the
kind of
underdog.
talking them down before the game. Like this style of this team isn't exactly what we're looking for to win versus
crazy.
Force Wall.
Who would do
we're
this?
wrong. We're so
Who would
wrong,
do
and
that?
they showed an entirely new playbook and a well-deserved win for the team. But we, of course, we're gonna shake this off. We're gonna enjoy the
I
tingly
need to
feeling
calm
inside.
down, else this next game might not do it for me. You know,
Exactly. Yeah, but
I'm sure they're gonna
game.
give it a good go though.
Absolutely. 42 Gaming versus Blue Whites coming up after the break. We'll take a short one.
And welcome back to the NLC Division 2, where we just had a great game.
Banger.
And I mean, the day has been delivering altogether, Temporal. And right now, I'm hoping for another one. 42 Gaming versus Blue Whites. And we have a little bit of a, I mean, it's on Twitch. It's a subathon. It's just not the one you're thinking about.
That's bad. That's bad. Yeah, yeah. Production agrees with me. That's bad. That's not okay.
we have a couple of subs in last minute here.
We do,
At least
we
for
do.
our sakes, from 42 Gaming and Blue Whites, and we were talking a little bit about Blue Whites. Probably pretty happy about Fourth Wall dropping a game. Just no.
Yeah, get him out of here. I've had enough. That lines them up in the
Thanos.
standings nicely. 2 losses each. And with that, we have news that Blue Whites will be playing with their support as AD carry, their coach as support, and that sort of lines everything up on the roster. They'll also be on the blue side going into this match.
Yeah, and I mean, both teams probably, in general, they have a lot to take into consideration. They're about 6th and 2nd on the table. Blue Whites, they want a victory here. They really want it. It will spike them up to the approximate same standing as their competitor, which would be a huge win. But of course,
Yeah.
having a sub usually not a boon.
Yeah,
especially in
would-
this sense. But when both teams have it, might play out.
Holding them up against Fourth Wall would be really great. And if you're like, yeah, how did we catch up to Fourth Wall? I think saying we played with 2 subs and they lost a miracle game wouldn't be on my bingo card. So even more special if it does happen.
Yeah, absolutely. But I still assume this is going to be some great League of Legends, and we've seen how we've seen influential supports today, and let's see how a coach goes in and picks on
I think,
the carry.
is it fair to say, even though it hasn't won every game, a Nautilus smash?
Yeah, I would agree that Nautilus does indeed a smash. Yeah, just miles below all the other champions. I hope we're getting into draft pretty soon. I think the teams are starting to collect their heads, look through the roster lists, and be like, yeah, okay, we know what we're playing against. We got what we got. But yeah, in general, just another great game for today. I think we have to round it out with a good one. We can't have something boring now.
No, I'm pretty excited. I'm just looking over some match history for these guys. There's a lot of sort of things that are exciting, but not too far apart from standard. So I'm struggling to decide which one to sell you on. Here. So
Maybe we got that patch 14.3 magic. It seems like everything has been just a little skewed. No game has felt completely standard. There's just a little bit of mwah in every single game. In some way
I know what we can go and find. I'm just going through 42 Gaming's history, and they're also Neferi enjoyers. And we saw Neferi in the last game.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find the win rate because I believe Carvis or someone else piped up in Discord and was just like, oh, by the way, check check the win rate on Neferi.
What are we talking about there?
So Victor Shen has 100% win rate. Absolute shock. Senna, 90% win rate. Lilia, Jax, Neferi, excluding that last game when it was at 66. So that sends it to what? 75% win rate for Neferi. Maybe 42 will run it back.
And Shen took a hit too. Rest in peace, that win rate as we are in draft. Blue Whites on the blue side. Makes it easy for us with 42 on the red as we see an early Hui ban.
Yeah, surprise. I think if you're not blue wanting it, pretty fair to say. If you're going to lean towards Smolder, I'm to say bye to Hui.
Absolutely. We saw a dragon fight off though in Chaos versus Rich Gang. New and improved Aurelian Soul in some ways at least.
Definitely.
Win out in the
very
field.
strong.
Yeah, it looks nasty.
Pike ban.
Oh.
Let's presume that's thrown at Toba. If you come in as coach, you might try and flip the game, do something a little spicy, upset Comfort, something like a Pike, a fair ban away to your opponents. Don't give them something easy. When you do, excuse me, start to upset the balance of the bottom lane. Smolder as well.
From blue side.
What's the blue? Let's see what blue whites are going for here. I think most of the blue ones in the game missing, and to ban your own on blue 3 a bit difficult.
Karma also taken out. But yeah, this I don't know what kind of inkling I get from these ban fakes. It just seems a little cautious, maybe. Like you're banning something that you. I mean, it's their game to play. The Blue Whites have to find their comfort versus 42. For now, let's see what they lock in first. Maokai, we've seen a lot of it. This is gonna be another one. Let's at least see a champion.
So, yep, there you go. Right at the end, right at the last moment. A little bit of engage. We saw Warriors fall down on this last game. Can be exploited. I don't know if 42 will go to the Talia. I am screaming through their picks at the moment. Have tended to favor things like the Udyr, the Trundle. Instead, Callista, a ban we've seen in previous games. Fist fighting 2v2 in the bottom lane. The style that 42 want to push forwards with. If you got that sub in, why not apply a load of pressure with an early game jungler and Callista? In response,
wow.
I want to see like maximum enchanteriness here, Blue Whites. We gotta let them come to us if you're gonna accept to not fist fight straight there.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just singing out loud and clear. 42 Gaming, they want to put on the pressure early and really take control of the game. Now we see the virus in. Also something we've seen banned today. A lot of strong champions rolling in.
The Karma is still open. Would be the easiest lock-in in the world right now. Varus can sort of play through the Callista. He's probably going to end up going the on-hit style. I think if you go poke and you are caught out, it's already over. Might as well give yourself the living fighting chance. And playing through a fight when you do get ahead, what's Callista going to do? Hit you slower? Doesn't really work out. I like the Renata here. It's a bit risky without a melee support for it to abuse or some engage. But we've seen everyone pick engage tonight, so we'll at least throw that off. I don't even mind it to the Blitzcrank. You can throw your own grab over the top. The Leona also does suffer it slightly, so Renata enjoying everything that 42's hovering right now. And then, of course, the Xin Zhao will be in a similar position where his engage will be disrupted. Okay, Janna's the best of it. Janna's the best.
They go through so many engaged supports. Like, yeah, let's play into the Renata. Nah. Here comes the Janna. The disengage is gonna play out nice.
That's that pick is sort of angled 42 away from the all-in that Callista really wants to repeat over and over again, because engage really helps that. If we're looking to bans now, probably gonna try and fix mid up. I think the most important. Darius instead. Interesting. I think if you put Influentic on something a bit weaker here, Virtuoso doesn't matter so much. Blue White's top laner. Let's see. I think Xin Zhao plus a lot of things fixes Darius. Sure about that, man. Maybe Virtuoso's a monster.
I mean, Darius can take over a game, and if you're feeling comfortable with it, it's one of the champs that you can just take off block if that gives you some calmness in your soul and mind. Now, Virulent Soul, I feel like that is much more destructive, and yeah, get it out of the way. No,
Blue White's also mindful of mid. That TF ban probably also angled at top lane. Relatively fair. The AD/TF is a little bit strong and very frustrating to play against. Like, I haven't won lane against one yet. It's keeping me down. In competitive, it gets even better when you have that synchronicity, when your jungler shows up exactly when he's meant to and exactly when he's not. All right, Blue Whites have fixed mid. I really want them to come out advantageous here. 42 double ban top. Does that mean they're going to go for the Ornn here, a tank that doesn't do well into these two, that gives them the R5 to fix mid? It's a difficult proposition.
Yeah, both teams got some problems to fix here in their drafts. Don't necessarily see what they're planning out, but I think we're going to see some surprises. The Gragas is locked in together with the Jin Zhao, so we might be looking at it top.
Yeah, that would sort of be that I don't want to play with you anymore feel, where he gets like a bit of AP, plays through the lane, overheals through most things. I feel like Blue Whites have so much freedom here. I'm not even sure what you'd go to. Yorick, absolutely destructive. Hi Cobra, I hope you're watching. Let's go.
Fucking
Everyone very
fucking.
excited backstage. The lethality build of this champion is frankly absurd. It solos Baron at 20. It absolutely eviscerates a side lane. It is more non-interactive than the Gragas will be. You throw the ghouls, third of someone's health disappears, Maiden chunks another third, and you've cast one skill with some serrated ducks in your pocket. That's all you need. Corki coming through here. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It very much synergizes with the hands-off approach of blue whites until the Maokai ult comes over the top.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's flexible enough to make sure that the other things they
Non-committal
have-
enough.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they don't want to commit blue whites. They have issues, trust issues. And it's,
You say they have issues committing. They don't want to
yeah,
all in all the time. They want someone to come forwards into the Renata ult. They want someone to come forwards into
and
Maokai's
even
grasp.
then, I'm not even sure they're committing temporal. I feel like they
It's
gotta
just, you know,
focus all
well,
about this.
That's just to hit a few more rockets. As you get a bit more gold, and we'll go back and do it again. Both solo laners going with the I can't believe I've forgotten the name. First strike, the rune. There we go. That allows you that gold generation. Both of them happy to stand away and let that stack up over time, nice and slowly. Silas, a bit of a wild card here. 2v2's okay post level 4 with Jin Zhao. Unless they're picking off the Maokai, unless they are sort of hot on his heels and trying to be proactive and aggressive. This looks pretty flat and neutral from 42. They've got to get the Kalista on the roll. They should be able to leave the Gragas to his own devices. There is a risk the Yorick gets out of hand, but otherwise, play through bot 42. It should be a relatively straightforward game.
It might be. I'm a little, let's call it interested or concerned or whatever adjective you might go for in terms of how the Janna
How
will
they
play out
actually
in
get
the
through the
tempo.
Renata. I said playthrough bot and it would be straightforward. I don't know about successful, mind.
Ah, okay. And I
Should
understand
clarify that, shouldn't I?
mindset. Yeah. Nah, it's super easy to portal set. Now you can play
It's
with
easy
that after.
to execute. Chance of success,
Low.
not that much higher than 50%. Let's be real, that Renata designed to speak away from the bot lane.
Yeah.
We'll see how it pans out.
I mean, just throw Janna into the team. She can opt. That's the plan here, right?
Safety!
Yeah. Woo! They don't need peel. It's fine. Yorick is going to be the side lane anyways.
Fair enough.
But yeah, the
Right.
draft is completed. Let's see how they're gonna play it out. I mean, we're seeing Maokai after Maokai today, and yeah, pretty much always. I feel like I can't remember back to a time where Maokai wasn't meta. I remember when it was meta top, but that was a different time.
I
Different people than
remember.
the Boral.
I remember a time. Oh no, get out of here, Smolder. You were
You're not in
banned.
this game. Get it.
Go cry home to mom. I remember a time when Maokai was completely unplayable because the mana cost on his ult, which was a spinning circle at the time, was like tripled because it was absurdly broken. Not long after season 2 Worlds, and he was completely unplayable. There we go.
Sad times. Yeah,
I have to
absolutely.
think back that far when he wasn't good.
I feel like we get missing pinged a little bit from how
And
far
see
back
that
we
that's like, is he still alive? This boomer, like, what's he talking about?
how does he even function? And yeah, so we load into the game. Yeah, observer zooms in on the next on the fountain like you do. But we see a little bit of some clumps of champions at different places. Looking like Virtuoso and I feel like they're kind of baiting, like, oh, all 5 of us are here. Now you can go in and ward on the other side, and then
Yeah,
42
do you
are
think
sitting
it's
there
the mind
to
games?
pick them up. Yeah, I think that's the attempt. They didn't even ward with that step in.
I think the big blue white whale, not falling for it, moves a little too slowly, perhaps.
Yar.
Interested that Influentic's gone for the Darn Shield. I know it's not that crazy, but I feel like it's still slightly weaker in the 2v2 than the ring. And if you're going to hold on for 4 and try and smash Maokai, or just try and contest a crab, I'd still probably be reaching for the ring. We'll see. We'll see. My feelings about mid lane, variably applicable.
Yeah, of course. Talking about feelings and applicable, seems like you spent a lot of time figuring out the name of First Strike, and we only have one.
I know. Oh, Pomo. All right, going melee into ranged. So he's going to try and get some more auto attacks off. Interesting. We'll see how that works out.
Wait. Rexat? Do you go that ring?
I'm clarify. Oh.
Um,
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. I can talk about
Explain
this.
to me,
This is
please.
good. 2v2s
Yes.
in bot level 1, 2, 3, really important. Support item is very, very good. So good with no stats on it. So you could just pick it up on first base. This is instead of the
okay.
Darn's Ring support stuff. Dark Seal and Darn's Ring, pretty interchangeable when you're on support. So yeah, just going for the Dark Seal. Rexat already starting to crush on Toba's health bar. And that looks to be the objective here for 42's bot lane. They're gonna try and pinch their first a bit of AP and potentially a lot of AP if successful in those trades that you are indexing towards. Still allows you to go a little bit further.
The issue here is that Rexat is gonna get a pentakill early, and then he gets passed off a Magi's, and it's just gonna ruin the support game completely.
But the support item's so fast, it won't make a big difference.
True. Now, seeing a little bit of skirmishing early. Mid lane, we have a gank from Baumif. I don't know how much that did. It seems like he just poked his nose, or maybe his spear, into
Hopefully
lane
didn't
just to
lead
show
to
that he was
too much
present.
experience. Pomo having a level advantage here would be difficult.
Yeah.
Has left the wave in an awkward position. Corki doesn't feel comfortable moving up there, and I completely understand why.
Play some value. That is good.
Yeah. The Yorick takes a little while to get going, so we're not looking for too much excitement here. We might be looking for some ghouls under tower, just to make Virtuoso stress a little more. But not a lot till we're on 2 lethality items. I think, gosh, is it Yamu's opportunity? And then my brain's falling apart on the third one. And it's quite important for the build. Might be Shojin. Cobros Lol on Twitter. Great player. And he's currently had his Yorick build plagiarized. So go check out the source, eh?
I'm gonna go plagiarize it right after this cast.
No, you're allowed to enjoy it. Just present it as yours to thousands of followers on YouTube.
Oh,
And say,
I
did
will,
this
I
when
will.
it's literally Cobros' ID playing in the background. Right. Let's talk about Maokai. In the last game, I'd already solved a pick about here. Jonas is trying to get a bit of a push in, trying to get Pomo a free reset. Baumi coming across.
Oh, get the hook onto Pomo. The disengage might be good. Flash out. And I mean, they
I'd
got
say
one
that's
summoner
worth it.
out of him. That's a good start for 42.
Yeah, they are going to have to hold this wave. They're in a bit of a precarious position. The fight's going to extend.
Oh, it is. Yeah, mid lane still fighting. Influentic so low. The Maokai gets a kill. Let's see if they can come back. Yeah, it's jungle for jungle kill on jungle kill.
Yeah, too many minions there. Influentic was tanking a whole wave. I think extending forwards just because, you know, Pomo's flash has gone very risky. And he was on that Doran shield. You not got that clutch factor. Kingslayer, not enough to heal through. Baumi also now without his flash on your early playmaking junglers. That can be a bit of a struggle. Everyone's flash missing around mid. That lane means our side lanes are a little safer. Favoring blue-whites if top lane continues to go smoothly.
I mean, like a little lack of patience there from 42. It happens, and here we see it again. They stepped up.
Look at that!
far
Look
in
at
the
that!
game.
Right, we got. Once that goes down, once that cannon goes down, 2 melees, 3 casters, the cannon all firing away on Influentic's back. The fight relatively close. The flash forwards from Yones to secure the kill, but like there's a third champion there from Blue Whites and 42. A little too eager, a little too early.
At least for they sat back 42 with the only set of buffs at the end of that. That is something, but the gold still a little advantageous for blue whites, and it's because of the interactivity in the top lane.
Yeah, interactivity. I love it. Yona's also level 5, slightly early. Would like to see him. Yep, he's going to go towards the grubs here. Nice and easy. Baumi could trade the dragon. He has priority in bot. In fact, he has just started that one. But Tova and Pomo might be able to shove him off it. I think didn't spot that there on the Scry's Bloom. And maybe could have been done. It's a little bit risky with 42 all the way up here, though.
Yeah, such a prio bot lane from 42. It feels like this Drake should be there, so no matter what. And we see grubs trickling in. Third one secured. Drake will follow shortly on the other side. Well, Pomo might look for Influentic here. Stolen the ultimate, of course, but with Jones nearby, there is a chance for another kill.
We'll walk forwards without flash, so this is just going to be a push out of the wave, I feel.
Yeah.
42 coalescing on this bottom side. They've kept the Jinjao around. Will be spotted.
It looks like a difficult dive if they were gonna attempt it, but stays around just that little bit extra about me. But yeah, now he's walking away. Jon's done the same. They're playing the game kind of slow.
Yeah, there's no
They're
rush
allowed to.
right now. I think 42 don't have a easy way to like frustrate top further to get Chrissy a kill real fast.
Look at the
You
damage.
just take it slow. Even if there are no good plays, doesn't mean you have to try and make one. God, Janna is so frustrating to play against. I hope everyone at home is also in an awe as to what little work Toba and Egats can get done under that tower.
Almost gets completely negated. They've picked them up. Of course, they're a little behind in CS, but
Yeah, it's the slow grinding away of a Varus who should be you know, you play the champion because it does well in lane.
goes in. Damage back is good, but yeah, without boots, Jons, you see him. He's always just lagging a little bit behind or a little bit too far away to make stuff happen. He doesn't have smite, I think, so that's picked
No,
up by
missed it.
the Xin Zhao.
Yeah,
Blue buff
got
is
the
his
big
too.
one. I think this should be gone. Jonas
Rent?
did get his opponent's red buff, so this comes out fair overall. 42 still slightly behind in gold, but they keep the jungle position about the same, and the Xinjiao will not start to slide away the XP side of things.
Spotted out in the mid lane. There's a lot of info on the map for both teams, pretty much. Jons is the upside. They know it, 42, and they just knew where Aubameyang walked through mid. So have to be a little bit careful here, Polaksa. But he's enjoying his time here. And
It's
sunny
so
Bahama.
easy with the maiden up, like pushing the lane, very, very straightforwards. I think even at this stage, like look at them go. Look at the little guys.
Look at the gameplay.
So much gameplay right now.
Look at all the
That's all right.
Greaves that are there, Doug. Is this his opponent's? Is this his own? You don't know.
I kind of like Virtuoso going for the Rod of Ages here.
Oh, Bowman's staying top. We might have an attempt.
Oh,
Missing ping still, but yeah, no, there's a ward. He gets spotted out. The pushing power of the ghouls is just making it so hard for Virtuoso to even begin an attempt at a play.
all right. Support's out. Getting vision in the river. Everything slowed down to glacial pace. Grub's up soon. Next dragon in 2 minutes. At this stage, we could look with Chrissy with full boots to try and play through a fight. I think 42 will have to pick a time to start playing sooner or later. If no one sort of wants to engage, everyone wants to sit in lanes and not pull out big plays, Blue Whites will eventually grind out a lead. They're losing slowly in bot side, but slower than 42 are losing in top and mid.
The poking power of Blue Eyes will, of course, always play a big role, but I feel like when 42 wants to pull the trigger, they can. But for now, we haven't had any kind of contested neutral objective. You can call the Raptor something. Oh, gets the hook there, Influentic. Do they have the damage? Flash out, flash after from Baumif. They don't have the damage. And here are the tower shots. Ultimate from Jones. It's not followed up on. And we're just going to see a flash for a flash.
Once again,
I mean, I
those
can't believe we
junglers-
don't have more kills.
Yeah. Trading summoners. It's nice and slow at this stage, Dark Slider. We're in podcast mode. We're taking it easy. Last
Yeah,
game was a stonker. This game will get there. We're just going
It
to take
will.
our time.
Jones really wants these, and he picks up one
he's
of
got
them. Just
4.
one more will be so valuable, but now 42, they've stepped up. They have all 5 members available. Influentic doesn't hit the engage. Poke
Pomo-
ain't that good. Pomo has the package.
Yeah, he's
But
just
didn't
got
run
it.
out. No, it's still there.
He's just got it. Just got it sorted. So, that should be Blue Whites with priority here. Pings down. And an immediate move from 42 to try and cross map in bot lane. The Janna allowing the fast rotation will get 42 into the bot side.
Can't believe Yorick is gonna get extra minions. It's like
I
extra
know.
minions. It's gonna be impossible to count.
All right,
Oh, kill!
Chrissy. Yeah. Egets was still pushing under the tower.
Ah,
He did
okay,
not see the members of 42 coming till it was far too late. A little bit of overextension there. And give over the cross map play. But I still think worth it for Blue Whites. Just not the absolute win they were looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Gold even. Now let's see if they can just use the bot lane prio. Use Baumif to get to solo the Drake. they kind of want to have something in return for losing out
Yeah.
in the Void Grub department, and I think it's going to be hard for Blue Whites to really step up to the plate.
I think it's actually way better for them. I think the stat is if you give all grubs and take the first 2 dragons, you got a 56% win rate. Your opponents have to walk into you on a 10-minute timer, and we want 42 to, you know, eventually take this fight. They've got to do something sooner or later. At Dragon, especially an Infernal one as well, with so much damage lined up for Influentic and Chrissy, or indeed most of the members of Blue Whites, that's a pretty big prize. It's pretty important.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think 42 have set themselves a decent timer there. If they get a big fight and Chrissy gets to absolutely sweep through, gonna have that Ginsu's, I think, just after the Slate of the Rearing King, most likely, will be a big timer for them. You can't argue with that at all. Decent play through the early game, even though their proactivity faltered slightly. The Eclipse for Yorick as well. It is Eclipse, right? I know it's not a lethality item right now. But yes, that sort of double tick from 2 ghouls. It's just so nice. It's just so easy.
It's always gonna
Deals 20% health, max bonus damage. Why not? Why not? That's a number.
That's a thing you're allowed to do easily. And I mean, the E is just so easy to hit now. It's gotten so much better through the buff. The projectile flies faster.
Yeah, it's so much smoother. All right, Influentic is little Corky, so he's tickling away right now. That is the engage. Here come Blue Whites.
They steal away another red buff, but at what cost? As the damage is there. Gets the hostile takeover. They're gonna follow up on Bommy, which means, yeah, he's going to fall too. I think 42 overstepped this time. Blue Whites, kind of close actually. Blue Whites was ready for it. They did get the first turret in return, but we're still threading very evenly in the gold department. But now
Chrissy as well. Lots of plates last second. I find it odd that was the time that 42 chose to really go. I guess plates and the ability to push on the mind just before 14 minutes. This will allow Blue Whites to overextend into the Rift Herald if they like, or otherwise just take a little bit more gold away. 42s went to a better position, but Blue Whites got more of it.
blow for blow, and value gotten in different directions means that it's kind of hard to read who is doing the best all in all. Of course, this Herald going to be important. They go straight onto it with Bomb. There were so many foes nearby that it feels kind of risky, but I guess they didn't know that he didn't know that. I think there were people there.
That ward might have spotted the base. It's a few seconds old, but yeah, they've sort of read the tempo of Blue Whites here and said, "We don't think you can respond. You don't think you're ready." It looks like Blue White's gonna hand over this Rift Herald.
Yeah, and it's
that ping for blue buff. Way too late. Way too late. Okay.
Looking toward top. But also got some tower damage off on the top side while was mid,
no way they've just walked past each other in the night. These two must know they're here. A play onto bot lane, Influentic Courts.
Yeah, gets slowed down, goes back on to Pomos. This is an all-in from the mid laner, but he does not have the damage. The Rod of Ages has not like that. Flash for flash, and the last auto from the support picks up the kill. But here comes a Janna for the 1v2. Nah, he got help in the back. He's gonna try to slow down, and there's no tower to help him out just yet. Pulls him towards him there, Toba. Gets picked up, and now the knockup misses. Goes to the side, Pomo gets a kill. Shield keeps him alive, but maybe there's enough time. No, the flash out buys just enough for Crycy, and he gets the kill back. We see a kill on the other side of the map. Finally, Veluxa goes down, and now suddenly there's so much happening at the same time. Toba gets the backup, and Crycy, I don't know if you can make this happen. Eggets picks it up with one measly arrow, and I don't have a full I can't see exactly what's happening at the same time.
You know what the score is, Dog Slider, after all that? After that tower went down in top side, all of the gold is the same.
Yeah,
it's the same. Nothing's changed. Believe nothing, viewers. This meant absolutely nothing except that Cryssy did eventually fall, which gives Eggets a little bit of a bigger play. Virtuoso delaying here, getting a bit stuck. Veluxa goes real deep. E slightly short. That was just a snap, cast a little blind, and Baumet over the wall. Doesn't even need to dash to his target.
A little overstep there. I mean, Veluxa, he saw a lot of kills happening. He's like, I gotta join in on the action. Even I need some interaction in my life.
what a great way to end out the day, because you know we've said it's low interaction, but the fight started at like non-forced timers. Both of these teams felt the pressure, felt the tension, and started to make a move on their own. That's a really sort of important thing when you get to higher levels of League of Legends. It becomes more, the vibes isn't the right word, but you're reading intangibles, you're reading the mood of your opponent. Homo right now exuding anger and defensive energy over this bottom river. 42 just going to take their time coming forward.
Yeah, and they have the poke, they have the damage, so this time they want to take away a Drake for themselves. Of course, 42, they really want it. Oh, the damage is good. Package out. Gets kind of saved by the Janna, by so much room for Pomo, who now has all the room in the world, and here comes the backup. But I don't think 42 has the damage to take this one home. They managed to pick up Pomo, great cast from Virtuoso, but so they get one back at least, but there's 3 members. They're gonna lose to Drake. That was not the fight for them.
Not being on the objective first, that they'd invited Blue Whites to come towards. You know, we got 2 dragons, come and get me. And actually, Yorick's Ghouls nearly soloed that one out. Incredible work.
Nice.
Love to see it. And yeah, I think the final nail in the coffin, a fantastic hostile takeover from Toba, delayed Chrissy from getting his first reset. We'll watch it back here. So Pomo moves first, Blue Whites in here. Let's look for the package that sort of goes south to north here. Balmif and Rexat do get knocked away. It slows down, buys time for Blue Whites to come out. That ult slows everything down. Jin Zhao invulnerable, but no one's hitting him right now. And while Influentic comes from deep, by the time he's in, he gets his being supported. Virtuoso and Chrissy slowed down, only killing Pomo.
The Ghoul keeping
over half the dragon already gone. Yorick, the jungler who isn't in the jungle. Look at him go.
I mean, that is beautiful. Give me that all day.
Yeah, I think what's the phrase? I saw a clip the other day, and it's like, yeah, I'm split pushing 2 lanes with this detached maiden, and I've taken the dragon by eing over the wall once. This is a man in multiple places, and to call him a split pusher, not even close enough. He's splitting in ways we don't understand.
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna try to get Virtuoso top, but the Mako ult comes up short. They got a lot of members around the Baron, but the push from Volux, of course, would be really dangerous bot lane. Now we got the 2 items. I
don't think
the
it's
spike.
worth
Ooh, but look at the
extending
damage. Hostile takeover hits the Jin Zhao, but he gets led out of the fight by his team. He's like, yeah, be mad, but follow us. Come here, not that other way. Re-engage from Crysic, gets in, but that's a really good knockback from Toba. Crysic trying to step up, but he's exhausted, and this is going to be another good fight from Blue Whites. Good casket by some time for Virtuoso, but one back. I don't know if that's what they wanted. What happened on the other side of the map? Not much, actually, just a stolen maiden. That's another great fight from Black.
And the minions looked at each other.
Wow, that was
42.
interactive.
You're right. You're seeing pieces of their comp, pieces of their ideas come together. The Gragas barrel nearly allowing Chrissy to play through, but it's a little too late at this stage, right? Influentic's trying the all-in. He's probably going to get 2 pieces.
Look at the goals. They're jumping after him. He's slowed down. He can't do anything. And Veloxa takes the 1v1. This is my maiden. Send that other one home.
I think the fake struggling from not having any little ghouls left, unfortunately. You do get some when you summon. But after that, Silas not able to summon his own. Falls down slightly. And yeah, Eclipse and then a little lethality and Cyrilda's is the solo queue recipe for this Yorick. I think Veluxa just going straight towards the Cyrilda's gives him so much pressure. Each of those little guys becoming slow robots in the side lane. It makes it go even harder. And no armor built up in the future by 42 will be effective against someone who's already packing that much armor penetration.
And I mean, I would be remiss if we didn't mention after the 2 last team fights, Toba coming in from the coaching position as support, doing
2-0
great on the Renata. I mean, yeah, it's a high KDA. It's huge in the kill participation department, and he's been a deciding factor in how these team fights have been playing out. He's just playing it so well.
Meaningful on the big cooldowns. Can't argue
Oh,
with it.
Virtuoso, that's a huge basket! And they get onto the AD carry instantly. It's a good hostile takeover, but is it enough? Thomas getting chased down. And that is the fight 42 we're looking for. What an engage from Virtuoso. And they're just stepping right towards the Baron. It's going to be dangerous. Rexat is pretty low. They've taken quite a lot of damage, but of course, they have the advantage of having the Kalista. Oh, wow, look at the healing. Which means they have almost guaranteed secure on it. But here, teleport from Veluxa. He has Maiden spawn in. This fight is 4v5, but they have the advantage of having the Baron debuff. Gets onto Rexat. He's going to go down. Maybe. No, gets saved out by Crysis. Peel is good. And for now, they're struggling to find the carries in the back. Crysis got onto Veluxa. And now they're just going to chase down Baron, even helping. 42 Gaming. Toba might go down for the first time today. But they're just running away at this point. Doesn't hit the spear. And they have to disengage. No Baron taken from any team, but another good fight from 42, who are clawing themselves back into the game.
Veluxa almost took Chrissy and Rexat there, almost got the prize.
Yeah,
the flush away, and the perfect pull to get Rexat out of danger allows 42 to rejoin the fight. 42 routed. They looked uncoordinated in their exit, and they bleed unnecessarily in front of the Baron. We'll have a look at how this starts here. 42 going to lead with the Monsoon into the buff. A little bit of a debuff there on Chrissy that could have maybe burnt this a little lower and been a little more threatening, as we see the cut in live in Infernal Dragon there. The play not a solve for anyone. Pomo's firing away, but he doesn't quite get in. And as Veluxa comes across, Pomo pushed away. Toba trying to guide him into the fight there. It ends up Veluxa versus 5 for a moment, and 42 rise up.
We have a fight in live. Pomo went hard onto Virtuoso, and Influentic might get both of them. Saves out Virtuoso, but now Veluxa was late to the fight because of death timers, but he is joining in. Blue Whites really want to get something here. Doesn't really hit with hostile takeover, but the peeling has had a value. But look at the knockup though. That was a huge Anna Q. It must have been that, right? And that Crysis is still going to go down, but
oh my, I thought Chrissy could continue to move away from that. Toba just around the minion wave. Very, very nice.
I just saw a lot of people being knocked up, and I'm like, that I had to be a Janna, right?
That was magic.
I'm not even sure. It feels like almost they were too spread out, but you never know what magic that can come through those tornadoes.
Even though it's a lost fight, do manage to secure Soul Point. They can threaten the next Infernal Dragon with impunity. Veluxa gonna move up here. Not sure how well 42 can respond to this teleport in from Virtuoso. They're going to try and dissuade Blue Whites here.
The vision is there. They know that the opponents are coming. Gets a knock up onto Jones. Now, the spread around is without the Kalista, which is, of course, going to be a huge deal. There comes the jump in. It's stolen by Bobby, but how is the follow-up? They might be able to take some down. No, the jungler falls. Influentic has to run. And they're going to try to at least get him down as revenge from the Baron take. But what a steal from 42 Gaming's jungler. Influentic buying so much time. The Blast Cone taking Poma in. I don't think he can turn it around. No, too much poke. But the value from just taking down the Baron, it's worth its weight in gold. You see Virtuoso and Rexat taking the Drake, no, taking the tower, and they must be happy about this. Now I gotta stem the tide while they have 2 members down.
They got the heist. They got it off. I didn't think there was a single hope for 42 there except a disappointing team fight. Instead, their jungler finds the prize. And while Influentic falls down on this Silas, he buys time and space. Yeah. Everyone gets a clean reset. Everyone gets back out on the map. And once Influentic walks out of base, a 2-lane setup for 42 isn't the worst thing in the world. They've still got to respect Veluxa's incredible pushing power, despite now having some of their own. But I think this is the best they could have hoped for in such a difficult situation.
And with that steal, the momentum shift, or at least stemming the momentum, it feels real. I mean, I'm again lacking for words when it comes to who is ahead, who is doing the best. Of course, the next couple of minutes will be pushing for 42. They take down another turret. They're going really aggressive with Crysis. Here comes the flank. He might have stepped up too far. Gets rooted down. That's a great Maokai ultimate. And look at the damage coming from Pomo on the side. Bambi tries to get onto him, but in the meantime, Eggets has taken down Chrissy. Bambi almost falls, but they manage to take down the Corki. So this is still a fight for Blue Whites. They're trying 42 Gaming. They have some members in the back. They're low, but they've been pushed off. Still 4 members from Blue Whites. That was a punish, and a lot of the Baron power has already been stopped.
42 Gaming, in respecting Veluxa's pushing power, decide to overload the side lane. They all run at him all at once, hoping that the Blue-Whites have left him alone. But these whales, they travel in packs. They've been able to come together. They push away, and despite Pomo falling down just short of killing Influentic and Balmeef, the number of Barons has been diminished. The wave more even, and once again, Blue-Whites push forwards.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
And they get a turret for themselves, and of course, still has
Engage from
to...
Balmeef. He's looking. He's found it.
Gets onto it. Here comes the ult from Silas. It's of the Maokai variety. Just pushing back Blue-Whites. They hook on to the Maokai. Do they have the damage to deal with them? They're going to try to turn back, and Toba and Eggets do have some room to play. No CC is hitting this Silas. He gets the kill onto Balmeef. And yeah, they're just going to continue. Flash onto the Janna. On the flank, Influentic gets rooted. And Blue-Whites punish the attempt from 42 Gaming. And now it's looking a little bit dicey.
Yeah, Balmeef under pressure, off tempo, tries to go for a snap engage. It's a desperate play. Blue-Whites come together. Pomo respawning just at the right time.
Just done.
Looks like they're going to keep going. Chrissy is here. Look to the left.
It's a Varus ultimate Influentic. Has flash available. Looks like Eggets is doing a really good job at keeping his distance. They do have a lot of range on their team. Now they also have to both deal with a teleport flash ultimate Veluxa in the top lane, while also being present for this soul. They really want it. It's the power spike they sorely need to even out the tempo of the game. But now they kind of can't deal with it because they're sending Janna and the Shin out to stop the inhibitor from going down. There's a world where Veluxa makes it happen, but yeah, you know, he is going down. The Janna takes it. They've given up a Drake for it, maybe. But they're still stepping, they're still available. Teleport behind. It is the Corki. That's a good package. Flashes back into it. Virtuoso gets shielded and saved by his support. But the Drake has fallen in the meantime. And yeah, the inhibitor didn't go down. It's not a bloodshed.
It is happening. Blue-Whites extend their lead ever so slightly, but for 28 minutes, it's not a wash. It is not the biggest lead in the world, indeed. You can see it in a completed item over Influentic in mid. That's most of it. In fact, it's all of the gold lead. There are slight disparities elsewhere. Blue-Whites ahead on top, slightly behind in bot lane. But that entire lead, only an item.
We're closing in on the 30-minute mark. With 30 kills, more than one a minute. It really seems like there should be a bigger discrepancy, but it's looking even. Both teams have opportunities.
Production might have to give us a hand here. I'm sure we were like 4 kills at 10 minutes or less. So that means in the last 20. We're setting some pace. We've ramped up to that bloodshed. And I think both teams now have to sort of... Oh, the word. There's a one-word answer for this, but instead we're going to do a long sentence. I can't remember what it is. Both teams now have to sort of build up from that pressure they've had. They have to build to a crescendo. There we go. We've had a slow burn. We've had a build up around objectives that have mattered more and more. 42 not capitalizing on this soul. And each time now, Blue-Whites and 42 must meet in front of these objectives. Another Baron is likely to crack inhibitors both sides. Another Dragon, potentially enough to give 42 the damage they've been lacking. Set up around this Baron.
Yeah, 2 kills on 10 minutes, Mark.
2 kills in 10 minutes. All right, in the last 20, that means we've done 26. So we're almost a 1.5 a minute. Almost.
Okay, Baron spawned in the side lane. Virtuoso and Veluxa are interacting with each other.
Virtuoso is killing those minions and running away.
Exactly. And it's still mounting pressure. And it's also always a question of, I mean, you're kind of playing chicken. Who wants to teleport and join in on the Baron first? And if it's not Veluxa, he can maybe stay and try to push for an inhibitor. Though risky. No one started on the Baron just yet. And both teams are just, for now, posturing for that final moment. 4th item completed for the Yorick.
Yeah, we're both looking at that board. It's a dangerous one. With the Profane coming through, there's AoE now on the queues.
Yeah.
And that Shojin just gets those ghouls really going. Do so much damage as they stack each other up.
I think Blue-Whites are just waiting for Veluxa split push to really take effect. Virtuoso
you got to get maximum out of your pressure here.
Yeah.
While Virtuoso is clearing the wave nicely, eventually the Yorick will overwhelm. It'll take a little while though. No rush here from Blue Whites. They know if they snap, that they will fall foul of Influentic. While he has just had to use his hijack, there's a nice and short cooldown there. And Chrissy's potential all in. It hasn't come to fruition. The Callista's picked up bits and pieces here and there. Hasn't played through a fight yet. And it's a serious threat at 3 items. Varus on the other side. More of a poker.
There we go. Engage attempt on Veluxa. Ultimate
Influentic's
might.
come down.
They're trying to keep him down. Look at the damage he's dealing, though. Might be able. Oh, that cask is great. Again, Influentic is trying and succeeding at taking you down, but they're fighting in the middle in the meantime. Pomo has taken down one. Crazy saves his support, but they're running for their life. For last forward, takes him in towards the Janna, and Crazy will fall. So will Rexat. And the effect of the split pays dividends when Pomo gets the triple through the great engage from Blue Whites. They're going to try to end the game, and they're pushing up with just a couple of minions. So it's still a chance for 42 to try to defend it. One Nexus inhibitor, no, Nexus turret is falling, but they have a chance here.
The grub spawning as well. They get a little more time into the tower. He gets.
Oh, that's a good cask.
Got him.
Almost down. Virtuoso stays alive, but he doesn't really. Oh, stop! Watch, keeps him alive, but Pomo doesn't want it, and I don't think alone Influentic will be influential enough to save the game for 42. And he almost goes down, but the Nexus is the prize, and they will take themselves a win here, Blue Whites, and take a big leap towards the top of the table.
With 2 subs, they have kept up with first place fourth wall. And that's
Wow.
a huge win for them. Snap engage on mid, and the Yorick did what it had to do. It drew 2 people to bot side. That was all they needed. Flashes in from mid. Fantastic shout out here. Jones for nailing that flash W that allows the chain play afterwards, that allows the flash in from the Corki. That seals the deal. No hesitation. That's what they needed here.
And they must be happy with it, this Blue Whites. You know, it's always nice when you're vying for that first spot, and then you're the ones above you go on a fall on their face a little bit. And yeah, now they're if I look at it, they're completely even, right? 7-2, I think, for both teams. And yeah, it's the runnings are really tightening up.
Especially Rich Gang winning earlier as well.
Yep. They're on the 6.
They go to 6-3. They're a threat.
Yep.
So them, they hit the ground running in week 1, and while they haven't played through completely, I wouldn't be worried too much come playoffs. I think the mood changes slightly.
It might. It's not complete. It's not win or die just yet, but we're getting closer, Temporal. Suddenly, you're playing for your life, and I kind of felt like 42 Gaming were playing their hearts out in many ways today. I almost wanted them to get a little win there. It felt deserved, but today it wasn't their day.
I think if they approach it with something that isn't the Silas, I'd offer more critique, but I can't think of what I'd have chosen in that lineup. Something that can interact with the core key. They banned the Azir themselves. Quay was gone. Smolder was gone. You pull out some different spice in mid, a little less vulnerable in the 2v2. I feel like Influentic could have maybe had more moves on the map, more team fights. May have gone their way. Maybe an Orianna, but I'm sort of leaning in towards the Ginger being the robot for her there. So it's difficult. It's hard. And we can't blame them for doing that.
Not even the result-based analysis can help us now, Temporal. As all in all, it's a win for the top dog now. While 42 have a little bit more to work on, edging the line of the 6th place. But that is pretty much us for today. It's been a great set of games. Not even the last game could disappoint. It looked a little slow in the beginning, but what a bloodbath it turned out to be. So even, so close. And I feel like all the games today were bangers with a
exciting. Even if that last one built tension a bit slower, still smacked. I'm really excited for more NLC 2. You have to keep up with the league. Yeah, very exciting gameplay. Congratulations all teams tonight. I don't think there were any. I must admit, right, I didn't catch Garden Gaming's winning game 1. But yeah, no wipes. Sort of interesting backwards and forwards. And at this stage in the season, with playoffs looming, that's what you got to be excited for. If you get 6th, you play it through because you're at that level now. That's all you need.
Absolutely. And with those magical words, we're going to end off the day here at the NLC Division 2 cast. It's been a joy to get to ferry you through it.
Yeah.
And to Paul, always a joy to cast with you.
Always a pleasure.
We'll be back with more NLC Division 2. Maybe us, maybe someone else. Someone great.
Let's get production to confirm when next
Yes.
stream is. But I think that all right, we are off plan at the moment. Next stream
Somewhere
will
on
be
the horizon.
real soon. More games tomorrow. Let's have a quick preview of the future. Wednesday, the 21st of February, Unique up against G2 Hell, Rich Gang up against Garden Gaming, 42 go against lower table rivals Carolina 5. We also have games Thursday and Saturday this week, so if you're wondering when you can get some more NLC too, this week's going to be a big one for you. I hope you're ready to sit down. Hope you got your snacks ready. We'll be here.